All right. What is going on, everybody? We are live. This is one of the hosts of the Xbox 2 podcast. My name is Randall419, the man with the million. And with me, as always, my co-host, my right-hand man, the, I don't know, what's your title? Senior editor at Windows Central, the one and only Jez Corden, who almost freaked out because he couldn't log into Twitter today. He thought somebody stole his account, apparently.
No one stole my account. It was just some kind of issue on Twitter, thank God. But dude, I was freaking out, man. I was like, oh my God, I've been hacked. But nah, Twitter was just down or something. But yes, I am Jez Corden of Windows Central, and I have no idea what my job title is because who cares? Who cares, rightly, Rand, about job titles in today's times, buddy?
I care. I care.
Okay, you care. What would you like my job title to
I don't know. I was just curious about what your job title is. Like, are you Emperor of Windows Central?
I wish. Maybe one day, eh? But nah, I think my job title is senior editor or something.
Senior editor. There we go. I mean, that's
senior editor. Yeah.
That's pretty good. I would say that's a pretty good. You know what my title is?
What?
YouTuber. I'm just a YouTuber, bro. I'm just a YouTuber. Lonely old YouTuber. Just clickbait YouTuber. Man. You know, people coming to me.
Clicking.
Read your titles. They're awful. They're so dramatic. It's like, yeah, that's the point, man. You got to play the game. You got to play the YouTube game, man. I don't have I'm not big enough where I can just do whatever I want and people will watch. You know, I'll be like, all right, well, got to make it somewhat interesting. So, yeah. So, welcome, guys. We're back on a Friday, which is the preferred day to do the show. What is this? Last day of September, and finally next month, kind of getting into the onslaught of games. I'm looking forward to playing Plague's Tale Requiem, Gotham Knights, Modern Warfare 2. I have some interest in Scorn. There's even a part of me that kind of wants to play Persona 5 Royale. So I mean, we got a lot of games coming in October. So I am definitely excited to. I'm definitely really excited for this month. Gaming recently has kind of been it's ebbs and flows, but like now it's that end of the year where like all the cool big games come out. As Jez says, like, what do you call me? I'm what type of gamer am I? What do you always say I am? I'm
trending gamer.
Trending gamer. I guess. Yeah, for the month of October, I will be. I suppose.
You only play the games that Pokemon plays, bro.
Oh, do I? I only play the games that Pokemon plays. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, and the TikTok celebrities and those kind of games. You won't play a game if it's like more than 5 months old, or less, 5 weeks old. That's that's Randall Gaming.
Randall Gaming. Yes. We have a whole bunch of topics to talk about. We got Halo Infinite rumors that kind of exploded on the internet, shall we say. Engine switching, Bobby Kotick still... Like, there's a whole bunch of stuff here, and we'll definitely touch on that. Google Stadia dies, a death that literally almost everybody knew was happening. But now there's some cause for concern because maybe this impacts the Xbox Activision deal, which is why I have that in the title. We'll talk about that. I mean, just scrolling through the list of topics here, like, the Saudis are trying to get into gaming, buying publishers. Xbox looking to buy more in Japan. There's
interesting.
I mean, I don't know. I think I have like 15 things written down here. So we're going to have a great show, probably a long show. It's typical for the Xbox 2, normally 3 hours. So strap it down, get your favorite beverage, whether it's a pop. I don't know what your pop, your pop was. Like mine used to be Diet Coke. Well, it used to be Mountain Dew. Like I would love Mountain Dew, and then I was like, oh, Mountain Dew, code red, and then it was Diet Coke because I was like, I might as well be healthy and drink some Diet Coke, and then now I don't drink any. I gave up pop, And you can tell I'm definitely from the Midwest because we say pop here in Chicago, not soda or not soda pop or Coke like they say in the South. It's pop, damn it, and I will die on this hill. But I drink Propel now. Shout out to Lord Cognito for actually getting me on Propel, and I have a watermelon Propel right now. So that is
How is Propel?
Propel is a zero sugar electrolyte energy drink. Well, not energy, but it's basically water, flavored water. With zero sugar and zero fat and zero carbs and stuff. So I get like four cases of these shipped from Amazon like every couple weeks, and that's what I drink, bruh. No more soda, none of that. So doing good. I know Jez is what's your typical drink of choice? Jack Daniels or whiskey?
Well,
perhaps.
Right now, I'm drinking an American rum called Remedy.
Remedy,
which was apparently developed in the Prohibition era. According to legend, Remedy Spice Rum was born during the Prohibition in the United States, a time which the consumption and sale of alcoholic beverage was strictly forbidden. But some rules are meant to be broken.
Yes.
So this was some kind of illegal beverage.
So
that is now
are you going to get a little tipsy during the show? Little tipsy?
Yes, I'm going to try and not get blasted though.
Yeah, don't get blasted. We don't need that again. We don't need you getting blasted like last time. Just take it slow. We're gonna be here for a while, talking about everything going on in the world of gaming, especially Xbox. So take it slow. Everybody get your drinks. Strap it in. It's gonna be a great show. But first, we gotta give a thank you, a shout out to all the Patreons who are supporting the show. You can see them all scrolling across the top of the screen with the grounded gameplay, which won the vote for the gameplay people wanted to see. So all the patrons are there that are signed up at the tiers for their names to appear on stream. And we also have the Patreon producer today, which is the Xbox International podcast. You can find them over at the Crazy Lui Gaming Channel, which is the home of the Xbox International podcast, every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. This podcast is for every gamer, no matter your preferred platform or taste in gaming. We just love gaming, so you're welcome to join the conversation with Crazy Lui, Silent, Cypher, and Sourblow. They talk Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, PC gaming, mobile games, video games, Game Pass, and PlayStation Plus, and anything related to games. And they also bring amazing guests that will bring their perspective and knowledge of the gaming industry. So shout out to Xbox International. The link to their YouTube channel is in the description, so you can check out their show every Wednesday. I've actually been on a show. It was a good time. The guys are a very nice bunch of dudes over there, so make sure you check them out. And thank you for supporting the Xbox 2 at the producer tier. But, Jez, we also have to give some shout outs to the people, Patrons that are signed up at the MVP tier. So,
we do.
Can you give them a shout out?
I will give them a shout out if you bear with me just one moment.
Come on.
It's a professional podcasting, man. Like I'm totally prepared for this. So yeah, this week's epic shout outs to our amazing patrons. So thanks to everyone who signed up for our Patreon and stuff like that. We really appreciate it. We've got loads of amazing plans to grow the Patreon and all that kind of stuff. So we've got Elijah Vasquez, James Moore, Matt Salinas, Catriox, Ricky Fallon, Nerdy Meathead, Bright Tundra, Jasper Shapp, Joseph Campbell, Discarded Caboose, Xbox International, Justin Duell, Frank Marino, P. Bro King, Billy Ball, Justin Miller, Asa T, Untidy Tim, Grizzly Mofo, Governor Crip, DZ Huffin, Justin Sago, Andrew Courtney, Woggerman, Achievement, The Scarecrow, Darren Torpy, Professor JJJ, Butterball, Ghostface Killer, Wolfgang, and Ralph Wiggum. Thanks to all you guys for being our MVPs over on the Patreon.
Thank you so very much. We hope we're providing you, value for your money. We just put on the exclusive show on Tuesday. I feel like the feedback for that show was incredible. And me and Jez are actually looking to expand and do two shows, 2 extra shows a month. So we'll be talking about that probably in the Patreon feed. So if you want to join the Patreon feed, get a shout out, watch the exclusive podcast, or get your name scrolling on the ticker, you can always join. Link is in the description, or I'm sure Jez is putting it into the chat. So thank you, everybody who signed up, and thank you for everybody who's watching right now, regardless if you're a Patreon or not, or just lurking. We love each and every one of you. So, all right, Jez, let's move on. And I need to get a couple of these super chats, because there was one at the very beginning that I didn't want to miss, because it's from Sean Kramer. And he says, hello from Taiwan. So all the way from Taiwan.
Oh, wow.
Getting my chat in before bed. My favorite baseball team is about to make the playoffs for the first time since before Xbox existed, which I would imagine is the Seattle Mariners, right? If I'm not mistaken. I think that's the team. What was your system of choice in early 2001? So, Jez, what was your system of choice in early 2001?
I was on PS2 from console, but I was like really addicted to Unreal Tournament on PC at that era. Me and my friends were just playing Unreal Tournament like non-stop at that point. I did play mainly on PS2 on console, but there's like loads of games that I missed during that era that I kind of regret now. But stuff like Silent Hill 2 and Shadow Hearts, which is being revived via Kickstarter, which is awesome, and lots of JRPGs and your Metal Gear Solids and stuff like that. So that was my main gaming systems of choice back in those times. And then World of Warcraft came out a little bit later. What about you, man? I suppose you
2001
probably on PS2 as well, right?
Yeah, 2001.
Everyone
I was a
at that
PS2
point.
guy. I was a PlayStation guy, PlayStation fan. I didn't see a reason to get an Xbox. In 2001, I don't think Xbox came out until 2001 anyways, really. So I didn't get an Xbox till 2004 when Halo 2 was coming out. So 2001, I was, neck deep into the PS ecosystem. After the Xbox 360, the PS2 is probably my favorite system of all time. Like, it's the 360 number one. Nothing. I don't think anything will knock off the 360. Like, that generation and the games that came out and the friends that I met, the multiplayer experiences, the single player experiences, that generation for me is clearly head and shoulders above everybody else. And then the PS2 would be right behind it. And then I don't know what I put after that. Xbox One gen wasn't very I don't know where the Xbox One generation. I don't know where I'd put that
people
one.
say this,
but
I put so many hours into Xbox One. I put like 800 hours into Monster Hunter World, and I had so much fun with that system. Overwatch, Monster Hunter World, and stuff like that. And yeah, a lot of it was multi-plats, admittedly. But I don't think the Xbox One gen was that bad. I really don't. I don't think it was. It was tainted, but when you zoom out, it wasn't that bad. I don't think.
No, I mean, yeah, you're right.
Anyway.
But that's just my opinion. So thank you for the super chat, and let's move on. We got one from Supernova saying masterclass music. I do like the music that we use for the beginning of the show. I really like that music. And
Sean LeBrie found that, right?
No, I found that. Sean LeBrie found the music for the intro trailer. I found the music for the starting soon screen. Shout out to Punkadish, who's been a member for 19 months, says, Rand and Jez, keep up the good work. Love listening to you dudes. # go Xbox. Thanks, Punk, for always supporting the channel and me and Jez, and for checking out the podcast always. We greatly appreciate it. We got one from Aquaman01. Asteroid 30 and Skull Candy gaming sets. Thoughts? I haven't even seen what the Skull Candy gaming set thing is, and I use Asteroid 50s, so if I were to get a new gaming headset, it'd probably be the Asteroid 50s. So I don't really have any thoughts per se on either of those. I don't even know what one of them is. You're the headset guy, Jez. Do you?
I've never used Skull Candy. I've heard things about them, but I've never used them. Maybe I'll reach out and try and get my hands on some I got a ton of new headsets in today. I
You
got
should- you
I
should-
got HyperX's entire.
You know what? You have so
library.
many. You have so many headsets. You should give some away to the Patreons.
Yeah, that's shit. You know what? That was the plan.
That was the plan
I
for
forgot.
Tuesday, but you totally forgot.
You forgot. I'll have to do 2 giveaways then on this
Yeah.
week. So. Oh, sorry about that, but yeah, yeah, because my boss said I'm not allowed to sell them because
Okay.
it's it's a sort of, I don't know, a kind of ethical thing, you know. If I'm benefiting financially from getting review units, that's not good, right? So, but at the same time, I don't want them gathering dust. And there's literally not a charity shop in Germany I can give them away to. So I'm just going to give them away to you guys, I guess. Which is what I was doing on when I was live streaming on my own YouTube channel back in the day.
How many headsets
anyway.
do you have?
Right
Like,
now,
legit. Like how many?
got-
How many are there? How many do you have?
well, I gave them all away when I was streaming Dark Souls. I pretty much gave them all away. I've shipped headsets all over the world when I was streaming. But right now, I've got about maybe 8 headsets here.
Jesus.
I got a load from HyperX right now. But yeah, I'll be giving those away as well to you guys. That's how we rock and roll, baby. Anyway, what were we talking about? Oh man,
We're just talking about whatever we want. Miguel Ivor says this is my favorite podcast by far. Oh, that means a lot. What's up with the Skyrim pricing on the Switch? Yeah, I definitely saw a lot of people outraged or confused. People being like, $70 games are here on the Switch. Thanks, Todd Howard. Because the Skyrim Anniversary Edition is $70. And the regular version is $60. So people are like, $70 games? But see, I don't understand the outrage or why people are like, because the Anniversary Edition is the one with the extra content, and the regular version's there for $60. I guess some people were saying, why is it more expensive on the Switch? Because I think the Skyrim regularly is $50, and the Anniversary Edition is $60 or something. Maybe that's why. That's why the price. I don't know. Maybe that's why people are upset. I don't know. Didn't Todd Howard once say we'll stop remaking Skyrim when you stop buying the games or something? When you stop buying it, they'll stop like re-putting them out all the time, something like that, right?
I have no idea. I was thinking earlier, man. Like maybe in 10 years there'll be a Skyrim Anniversary Edition. I don't think they're ever gonna stop selling that game. It's so crazy how much of a long tail Skyrim has, but it's also an incredible game, you know. But I actually sent an email to Xbox PR about this because I wanted to like find something out. My guess is that there's some kind of tax, you know, a Nintendo tax that Bethesda didn't want to pay, so they're basically passing that on to consumers, which is kind of shady, right? But also, this is Nintendo we're talking about. Company that like sells games that are 3 years old without ever lowering their price and stuff. So it's just the way Nintendo kind of is, right? That whole platform. But I don't know. I'll try and get something concrete on it, but I know that it's some kind of Switch tax, right?
Yeah.
And Microsoft, for whatever reason, they don't want to swallow that. They don't want to swallow the tax. So they're protesting it.
Yeah, Kamina Tong says he DM'd me and says in the UK, in the EU and the UK, it's $10. It's $10 cheaper, which makes no sense. So, yeah, I guess something's wrong. I don't know. I have no idea. You guys know how much I care about Nintendo Switch and the things they do on that. I don't care. I saw the screenshots and I'm like, well, I mean, the other version's cheaper. So I mean, I would imagine like if you bought that version and it would cost $10 to upgrade to the other, it would be the same price, but I don't know. Sin Vendetta says, hey, Rand and Jez, what are your thoughts on Deadpool 3 being announced and Hugh Jackman coming back to play Wolverine one more time? It was something I didn't know I wanted until they gave it to me, and I was really excited. I really like Deadpool 1 and 2. I like Ryan Reynolds in the role. I loved Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. He's one of the few bright spots of the X-Men franchise. when the movies were bad. He was always good in them, even though, there were some great X-Men movies. So I always felt Hugh Jackman would at least make one final appearance in the MCU for something. And it was probably going to be in Secret Wars. But the fact that we're getting I would imagine some sort of like buddy action comedy of some sort between Ryan Reynolds, Deadpool character, and Logan, Wolverine, and Hugh Jackman, that is something I am immediately shoots up to one of my most anticipated movies for whenever it comes out. Because I don't know about you guys, but ever since Avengers Endgame, my interest in the MCU has significantly diminished. I don't really think the movies have been all that great. I didn't really enjoy Multiverse of Madness. I haven't watched like Thor: Love and Thunder yet. A lot of the TV shows that they put out I tend to find to be quite mediocre. So I feel like MCU almost peaked with Avengers, and the stuff that they've announced, really, a lot of the things they've announced for the future isn't really that exciting. Like Secret Wars could be really cool, but a lot of the films they have announced currently, I'm just kind of like, I don't know. Fantastic Four, but that really depends on who's the director and who's actually the four characters. I'm a huge X-Men fan, so I was like, oh, when are the X-Men showing up? But this makes me really damn excited. I don't know about you, Jez. I think Jez is the type of person that hates comic books, though. So I would imagine you don't care about this at all. No?
Deadpool is the only comic book movie from the sort of Marvel sphere that I actually kind of liked. And I think it's because it's just so hilarious. And I just love Ryan Reynolds. Like, everything Ryan Reynolds does is kind of amazing, So I don't really care for the MCU in general, but I really do like Deadpool. I really like Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. And I also like Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. So I am intrigued to watch this. But I'm not like hyped out of my mind for it, like I'm sure some people are. I'm just sort of a very passive kind of fan, but I don't hate comic books. I'm a long-suffering DC fan.
Yeah, aren't we all? Aren't we all long-suffering DC fans? Yes, and it seems to be getting worse because apparently, I think you sent this to me, or maybe my buddy Magic sent it to me, but they sort of lied to shareholders, Warner Brothers, and they inflated the number of HBO subscribers by 10 million or something. And there's like a class action lawsuit now against Warner Brothers Discovery. Did you see this?
Yeah, there's all sorts of crazy shit going on with Warner Brothers Discovery. I can't even keep up with it. It feels like every week there's some kind of new controversy with Warner Brothers and that dude, the CEO, and it's all weird and crazy and stuff. I'm just like the 5 stages of grief or wherever it is. With DC, I've gone through all the stages of grief with DC, and I'm at like acceptance now. If anything good comes out of DC, great. But I'm not gonna have any expectations anymore. I really like the Batman though. I thought Robert Pattinson was really, really great in that movie, and so I'm excited, tentatively about what they're going to do with that. I'm also intrigued by the Joker musical that's supposed to be coming out. That should be very, very interesting.
Very different, at least,
but,
right?
Yeah, interesting, but oh
well. Yeah, what else we got here? Jay Rembrandt, thank you for the super chat. No message though. Glitch Doctor has been a member for 24 months. Says, I've been hacked. Can you believe that there's no way to get in touch with Microsoft via phone when you can't sign in? Microsoft support didn't help. Well, if you were PlayStation's... I guess maybe I shouldn't make a joke there because this is a serious issue. But there is the whole thing that happened with PlayStation Stars, giving you, if you're level 4, you get better customer support.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there has to be a way to get in touch with Microsoft via the phone. Right? You would think so.
Microsoft's customer support has gotten significantly worse over the years.
Indeed it has.
Like, it used to be really good. Like, when Surface launched, you know, and even like a few surfaces in, it was pretty good. You know, you could easily get in touch with someone either via the chat or via the phone or whatever. And I remember because I had issues with my Surface devices, and Microsoft was really great at sorting it all out. But now, if you want to talk to someone at Microsoft, it's like you have to first talk to a volunteer who doesn't know anything and has no ability to action anything, and then you have to like jump through all these other hoops, and it's like dark patterns. Like they don't want you to contact them because it costs them money, I guess. So it's, and then you know, you end up with someone on the other side of the planet and with a really bad laggy phone line and stuff. And yeah, it's not as good as it used to be. Yeah, like I think Sony and Microsoft have pretty bad customer service overall, especially when you compare it to something like Amazon. You know, whenever I have an issue with Amazon, it's like you talk to someone in the chat and then it's basically solved instantly. You know, so I don't know, but it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't
I think
remember
there's
the
a lot
last
of cost
time.
cutting going on right now. A lot of cost cutting.
Well, they used they basically put the Xbox ambassadors as sort of chat like agents or whatever. I don't know. I don't think it's very good either. Supernova says, "Am I the only one who prefers in-house engine? It has many features and serves the scene or the visualization you have in mind. The physics and animation are better than Unreal Engine." I don't know what, like, you just prefer in-house engines overall versus something like Unreal. I mean, you know, everybody has their tastes. So thank you for all the support, everybody. Thank you for checking out the show, and make sure you do us a huge favor and hit that like button, and then share this out on social media. Let everybody know we're live, and yeah, subscribe if you're new. And let's get into what I've been playing, Jez. What we've been playing. I've been playing a lot of games. So I'll talk about one game I played first, and then you can go. I played and finished Deathloop. Now, I talked about it extensively last year when it launched on the PlayStation 5. And I really enjoyed the game. I wouldn't go as far to say as I love it, but I really enjoy it. It came out finally on Xbox last week. I think I started playing it on Thursday, and I basically finished it over the weekend. I think I put about 13 hours into it, and I beat it really fast. The 13 hours is also some time I spent afterwards getting like some extra achievements and stuff. But boy, like when you know how that game plays out with like where you need to go to get some of the information to get the visionaries to kind of all line up, you can get through that game fast. I really like it. I still don't think, even playing for a second time, I don't think it's on the level of Dishonored or Prey. I really dig the art style. I even felt the combat. I felt the combat was better on the X. I don't know, maybe this is a placebo, but like I felt the combat was snappier, or at least better in this version than it was in the PlayStation 5, but that just could be my memory not like being right. But I will say, you know, as someone who's played it twice, talking to my friends who are playing it for the first time, the game can be really confusing in the beginning because they throw a lot of menus at you, a lot of different things really quickly, and it can be tough for people to understand exactly what they're supposed to do to progress the story. Because I was talking to a few people that were like, what do I need to do? How do I need to do this? So if anybody's watching and you're struggling with what to do in Deathloop, the visionary leads in the menus are essentially the story progress. There's like 7 visionary leads for each one of the bosses, quote unquote. And you basically need to follow those leads. And when you have completed each one of those specific leads, you essentially have figured out how to get all the visionaries to be able to kill them in one day throughout all the different maps. There's 4 maps and like 4 maps in 4 different time zones, or 4 different times. So if you're struggling, just know that following the visionary leads is what will help you progress the story. Now, if you're having a problem, where you're going through the maps and you're dying and you're restarting the whole loop, because it is a roguelite in that sense, where if you die more than 2 times in one map, you basically have to start the whole day over in the morning. If you're doing that and you're finding yourself starting each day without any weapons or without any abilities, any of the slabs as they call them, and you're confused, it's like, I don't know how to do this. Like, I've killed a couple visionaries and I got the Nexus slab or the Shift slab, but when I die or start a new day, I don't have them anymore. I don't have the weapons I like. That's because you didn't finish the mission in your arsenal lead called Ubiquity. And once you finish Ubiquity, you'll be able to have an ability that you can pick up Residium and then infuse your favorite weapons and your favorite abilities. So when you do start over a new day, you can have the weapons and abilities again. Because I've actually had people DM me this. They don't know what to do. They don't know how they keep weapons. I've talked to people in party chat with similar problems. So if anybody's watching this or watching this later that is playing it for the first time on Xbox and is a little bit confused about how things go, make sure in the Arsenal lead you do Ubiquity so you can grab Residium and infuse your favorite weapons and powers so you can carry them through each subsequent playthrough, and then always track the visionary leads. That is how you essentially beat the game. Just a public service announcement, because I've seen so many people be confused. And maybe that's a knock on Arcane for having such complicated game systems, I guess. You know,
why didn't they just give you that from the outset?
Well, the thing is, they do, but it's just like one sort of tutorial menu system right after the other. And I'll be honest, I was a bit confused as well the first time I played it on PS5. Like, they just throw so much of this at you at the very beginning. You're just sort of confused about what you're supposed to do. So, I
can't get into Deathloop. I've tried like 3 times now, and every time I just start thinking like, man, I just wish this was normal. I like the setting, I like the characters, I like the gameplay, but I don't like the system. You know, I just kind of like, it's just weird. I just wish it was a normal linear Arcane game. You know, it didn't work for me, or I'm gonna try and get into it. I'm bludgeoning my way through it, but I'm finding it difficult to get into though. I don't know.
I mean, you're not the only one. I know some other people that kind of liked in the beginning, but then didn't like it because they don't like the idea that you're playing on the same maps each time, but just different time periods, and then everything essentially like the morning is always the same on each map. Like, so the characters will be the enemies will be in the same spots. So like replaying, because you have to like constantly redo some of the stuff and go into maps to do certain things, and I think that just bothers people. It's like, I've already done this multiple times. This isn't fun anymore. But I had a lot of fun. They added an extended ending because the ending to the original was kind of abrupt, and it was like, huh? So they added an extended ending. You can definitely tell they did it really quick because it doesn't really look as good as the rest of the game. It's kind of something that they probably made in their spare time, and it makes the ending a little bit better. Sets up a possibility of a sequel, but we'll see if they do. I like Deathloop. I hope you guys like Deathloop, and so what have you been playing? You been playing anything? You getting prep for Overwatch 2? Is that what you've been doing?
I've been playing a bit of Overwatch, you know, just to sort of, you know, send it off, I guess. Losing 6v6 Overwatch forever, which makes me sad because I like playing the off-tank role, you know. But they're getting rid of it, which makes me sad. But I've been playing Diofield Chronicle. I don't know if you've heard of this game.
Yeah, that was the game you were upset that Square Enix didn't do any PR about. That it was just like, here's the game.
Yeah.
It just came out, yeah.
I kinda get why they didn't do any PR for it.
Oh, so I don't think it reviewed very well on Metacritic.
No. Man, it's not great. I'm probably one of the few people who's trying to go fully through the whole game and complete it, because I've invested so much time into it now that even though I'm bored out of my skull, I kind of feel like I have to finish it. I gotta see if there's something to the story now. But it is so repetitive. It is aggressively repetitive. Like, I've gotten to a point now where you can just, like, you know, suck up all the enemies in a cyclone and just AoE them down to death, and there's no strategy involved anymore. It's supposed to be a strategy RPG, right? That's what they describe it, as a modern SRPG, like Final Fantasy Tactics and stuff. And it's weird because there's Final Fantasy stuff in it. There's Final Fantasy mobs in it. Bahamut's in it. The summon. So there's some Final Fantasy DNA in this game, but it is super low budget. Animations are janky. The characters are stiff. It feels very indie, you know. But even though it's repetitive as hell and it's barely got any enemies and there's pretty much nothing to the combat, I'm just kind of intrigued by the story. It's got this like political drama story with like, I don't know, it's about a mercenary band, and they're sort of like, as time goes by, there's like rifts developing between the characters and betrayals happening, and I'm just kind of like, where's this going? Where are they taking me now with this story? So I'm just trying to force myself to go through it now, because I've put like dozens of hours into the game. This is Diofield Chronicle, for those who are asking in the chat. It's I don't know what to think of it right now. Right now, it's a 6 out of 10, I think, for me.
Okay.
You know, it's pretty. I'm in two minds about it. There's something about it where it's just like, I can see how easily this could be better, but at the same time, it's just not good. It's like, it's a game, okay? It's not awful, but it's not particularly great. And especially at, I think it's like $60 or $50. It's way overpriced for what it is. But yeah, that's Diofield Chronicle for you. I'm about 40 hours in or something now, 30 hours, something like that. Spent a ridiculous amount of time in the game. Like, I'm not actually sure exactly how many hours I've got, because it's one of these games that has this bug on Xbox where if you leave it in quick resume, the gameplay timer keeps ticking. So like in game it says I've got 150 hours, but I definitely don't have 150 hours in the game. So I'm reckon it's more like 30 hours or something like that. But yeah, I don't know. It's a weird game. It's I don't know.
Yeah, it sounds like it. But one of the games I've been playing the last couple weeks for review, which I'll talk about here, is Grounded. Microsoft gave me early access to the final 1.0 build, and I've put roughly 32 hours into it so far, which is 32 more hours than I expected to play Grounded. I'll tell you that much. I have been playing it in co-op with Colt Eastwood. He has been playing it a ton with his kids. He's got like 400 hours in it. He loves Grounded. So I was like, okay, like...
I don't know why, Rand, but I thought you were going to say he's got like 400 kids.
No.
I was like, wait, what?
Colt's a lot of kids. No, Colt's been playing it a lot with his kids. He's got 400 hours into it. It's kind of like a bonding experience for him and his kids. So that's awesome. But yeah, he was like, "You want to play it?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure. I'll give it a go." You know, Obsidian's a great developer. It's just, I don't care about the survival genre. Like, when you tell me one of the core mechanics is you need to drink water and find food, I immediately just be like, nope, no thanks. So when we started the game up, they do let you kind of play how you want, right? You can play it normal settings, or like really tough survival settings, or mild, where like hunger and thirst isn't that bad. So I was like, all right, let's play it on mild, because I'm not about here trying to worry about, getting stuff to eat and drink. So we started playing on mild, and I gotta say, I'm quite impressed with the game. This is coming from somebody who had no expectations, who doesn't like the survival genre whatsoever. The more I play, the more I enjoy the game. And I think it's because I know I'm working towards something. At least that's one factor of it. Like, the other factor, like, the reason, like, first, the game's beautiful. It may not, like, be apparent in the footage, because I was having a problem with rendering it, so I kind of had to render it at a lower bitrate and stuff. But the game looks gorgeous on the Series X. Like you're in this like giant backyard, and like the way the sun will go through the grass, and like you see the god rays. Like the backyard is just a really sort of charming, magical place where you find all these discarded, like a baseball, a juice box, a Battletoads toy, like each of these things that we probably all used as kids in our backyards are here, but they're blown up to these huge proportions, and it just presents this like magical feeling to the world. Like when you get to the sandbox, and then it's really cool, but it also has this sort of horrifying vibe because everything in the game wants to kill you, right? It starts off by little lawn mites, and then the spiders. Oh boy, when you run into those spiders, the orb weavers, the wolf spiders, and in the beginning of the game, they'll decimate you because you start with nothing, absolute nothing. And then you got to kind of work your way up. And so you have how the way the game looks, and the world itself is just, there's always something. We're like when we move into different areas, like, there's this picnic bench area, and like all the bees are over there, and it's like you can look down and everything, and it just looks so cool. Or you end up in the upper yard where there's like a barbecue set that was kicked over, so the charcoal's everywhere. Like there's all these, like there's this pond where there's a koi fish is swimming, and everything looks cool. And the progression of like how you start with nothing, and these enemies, these ants will attack you, and it's like you can't even really beat the ants, but then the way you progress and learn more recipes, because you collect things, you analyze them at these outposts, and then you can learn to craft like the bandages and the better armor. So like you start off being like, all right, well, I have this little like acorn armor, right? Like you get some acorns, like, and I can build a little small axe or a little small knife. But then the more you play and the better you get, the more you understand, like, and well, now you have ladybug armor. And in the beginning, like ladybugs were tough to kill. Now you got better ladybug armor. Now you got better level 2 weapons. And now you can kind of stand your own against the wolf spiders. And now, like, you're crafting spider armor and spider weapons. And now, like, that sort of progression where, like, you're continuously improving your character. What?
Now you understand the gameplay loop of Monster Hunter.
Okay, either way, you made me lose my train of thought here. So, like, that progression loop was oddly satisfying, right? Where it was like, okay, we couldn't do this before, but now we can do it now, and my character's getting better, and I'm getting better weapons. And the story, because they put the story in now, so there's this, I was quite interested in the story, like, okay, why were we here? So they introduced it with the cutscene, and then there's some other cutscenes in between, and it's like, the thing is, for me also, it's like, I know I'm progressing to the end, because I know people love Minecraft and those sort of type of games and the survival type of games like Ark and others where it's like you just go in there and kind of do what you want or make up your own fun. That is not me, right? I'm not somebody who can go into Minecraft and make up their own sort of things and do. I need a goal to work towards. I don't care about building huge houses. Like if you see the footage on my screen, my base is literally 4 freaking walls. And with no roof, and just stuff basically thrown everywhere because I'm not trying to make it look nice. Like we have like 5 containers and they're just spread all over the workbench because I don't care to line them up properly. I'm not here to build a mansion. Like Colt is building a mansion with his kids, like a 3-story mansion, right? I'm here to find out what happened and to finish the story and get out. So I'm not looking to put any extra time into making my house look nice because that's not why I'm playing the game. I want to progress. I want to get better, cooler stuff. I want to get, you can find these milk molars in the game, which will give you like kind of like level ups, RPG attributes where you get more health or more stamina. And then I want to get to the end of the game where you, presumably, because I haven't finished it yet, you get big again and go home. So like, it's like that RPG thing where it's like, here's the story, here's the progression, and here's this end goal you're working towards, and the world looks beautiful and charming, and it's always fun to play, and I'm playing it in co-op, and I'm having a blast with my friend, and it's exceeded all my expectations. Like, this was a game when it was announced in 2019, if you remember, at XO, where everybody made fun of it because we were all like, what is this? Why does it look like this? This is a joke. You know, like, what is going on? Obsidian, what are you doing, baby? What are you doing? And then you find out it's a passion project and 10 people are working on it, and it's just like, ugh. And you're like, Xbox needs bigger AAA games because that was the problem, and this isn't doing anything to kind of curb that. And, you know, now it's out in 1.0, 2 years later, and it's really good. It's really good, especially you play your co-op and have friends and just have a good time. But for me, I think I needed that sort of finish point, because if it didn't have that, I would have stopped playing. So that's sort of my carrot on the stick, I guess. But I'm really enjoying Grounded. I actually bug Colt when he's playing with his kids, and I'm like, can we play? Because I want to play, because I don't want to play the game by myself. Like, I want to finish the story. I want to see what happens. I want to fight the Black Widow. I want to fight the praying mantis. I just, you know, in this footage, you'll see us fighting the Broodmother. Like, I want to do those things. You know, I don't know. I'm really enjoying it, and this just kind of further cements in my head that Obsidian may be the number 1 or number 2 best Xbox studio. Like, it seems like they can't miss. Like, they're the workhorse, you know? So
Obsidian's definitely up there with the Coalition for me. I mean, and I know the Coalition basically only ships Gears games, you know, for now. But the Coalition basically carried the Xbox One generation. You know.
That is true. They did.
Yeah.
Like, you put like Playground Games up there, you put Obsidian, Coalition,
as well.
You know, like
Obsidian, Coalition, and Playground are the best devs at Xbox right now, I think. But anyway, I'm gonna get back into some Grounded. I haven't played it since launch. It's kind of hard to play solo, I find. You know, it's quite a struggle. You know, killing like, because when you're playing solo, you kind of have to like throw yourself at like some of the harder mobs to get the materials you need to make it easy for you. And doing some of that stuff solo can be really tough. But there's things you can do to make it easy for yourself, right? Like make traps and stuff, lure them into spikes, and sort of, you know, you can overcome those difficulties even as a solo player, which, you know, makes Grounded like so dynamic and compelling. And there still feels like there's so much they can do with it, you know, as a service game. But anyway, that's Grounded. And
that is Grounded.
Yeah.
So it's out now, 1.0, Game Pass, PC, Xbox Series X, and I believe Xbox One. Andrew in the Super Chat says, watching on my phone as my power keeps blinking on and off in the hurricane. Oh man, I hope you're okay. Jez, did you find out anything more on the Microsoft wireless headset disappearing?
Oh, right, yeah. I did not. I haven't found out yet. It could be that it's just stock fluctuations or parts missing and stuff like that. I have no idea what's going on with that headset. But the Surface Duo went out of stock for a few weeks over the summer and then came back in stock. So part of me wonders, honestly, is this sort of supply chain issues again? But, you know, it could be that it's discontinued, because honestly, the Xbox wireless headset is not the best headset in the world, even at that price point, you know. But maybe they just discontinued it. I don't know. But I haven't been able to lock down any details for sure about that. My gut instinct is that it's not discontinued. It's just supply chain problems, you know.
Well,
we'll see.
You know, Jez, you know what Microsoft loves to put out? Just loves to do more than anything? Put out controllers.
Yeah, there's a lot of controllers coming out.
They just love putting out their controllers. They just announced the Mineral Camo controllers out now, which is kind of like a blue camo-ish controller. But not only that, but apparently another controller leaked. Some user in Brazil found another controller that hasn't released yet. I don't know if they are, but it's called the Lunar Shadow. And I just have a laugh.
Looks really nice.
I remember back in 2018. 2017 maybe. I think it was 2017 where I was frustrated with how Xbox was positioning themselves. Like, we saw no movement in first party, and I'd be like, and I think they announced the controller, And I just like freaked out. I'm like, what are you guys doing announcing the controllers? You don't have any games. Stop announcing controllers until you have games. And I know like people at Xbox made fun of me for that. I know for a fact they made fun of me. And it was like I made fun of the person who wrote the article because he's like, because like the way they wrote the article for the controller was like, pick up the controller with 60 flops of power. It's like, what does teraflops of power for a console got to do with the freaking controller? I remember critiquing like all that stuff and just like losing my. I was like, I want games. I don't need more controllers. And then Xbox went and bought all the studios and Activision and like, you know, all the stuff. And it's like, yeah, I understand. The people that make the controllers don't have anything to do with the people that make games. But there was a point in 2017, people remember, I was like, stop doing this. And it's true. One of the things that Microsoft just loves more than anything is just releasing these special edition controllers. People love buying them. You know, so there's a new camo controller coming out. I think it's out now. And maybe the next controller, the Lunar Shadow. So if you want more controllers, Microsoft has your back. You can get as many controllers as you want.
People collect that shit, man. They must have just like a really good assembly line for making custom controllers, I guess. Because they really do churn them out.
They do churn them out.
There's like millions. And now they're doing Design Lab for the Elite controllers.
Yeah, they got Design Lab.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I actually have the new Elite core right here. The white Elite Series 2 core, they're calling it, I think. It's called that because it doesn't have any of the bells and whistles. It's got no carry case and no charge dock and no extra paddles and stuff. But because of that, they've managed to shave a little bit off the price, which I think is, pretty fair. I'm going to review it, but the problem with these controllers, Rand, is that the thing that everybody really wants to know with the Elite Series 2 is it going to break?
Yep, that is true.
And the problem is with that is it's going to take me 6 months to review whether or not the Elite Series 2 is going to break. Microsoft does very vaguely hint on their website for the Elite Series 2 that it has improved parts or something. They use very vague language because I think they're trying to avoid making themselves culpable for shipping a product that perhaps wasn't the most well built or well constructed or something. But yeah, it's really hard to determine longevity on this kind of product. But I saw a teardown on YouTube. Someone linked me. Shout out to that person. Can't remember exactly who it was who linked it to me. But someone did a teardown of these controllers, and apparently it does seem like it's got all the exact same internals as the Elite Series 2, the original one. So it's hard to say, like, will this actually survive? Because my first Elite Series 2 is dead. The shoulder buttons went, and the sticks were drifting as well. So will it survive? Tune in 6 months, I guess. But yeah, it looks nice at least. It's very nice. It's a very nice controller.
Yeah. Kieran Rice says, totally off topic, but the Rings of Power episode 6 was absolutely peak entertainment. Holy crap. Yeah, I watched the first 2 episodes, and then I decided I would wait until the end of the show. Because there are definitely some people in chat saying it's pretty bad. So I will definitely check out the show once it's all available, and I can binge watch it at my leisure, unlike Paris, who's got to do the whole week to week. Like Paris, you're so wrong for that.
Week to week, man.
You're so wrong for that, Paris. Paris wants to, he just wants to take away things I love. So hopefully he's watching.
He's right about it, man.
No, he's wrong. He's deadly wrong about it. Keishan Tashin, who's been a member for 10 months, says, "Hey guys, have a good day. I hope you have a good day as well."
Good day, buddy.
Yeah. We got one here from Jonathan who says, "Hey guys, any word on Kenna timed exclusivity? What are the chances that comes to Xbox? P.S. Deathloop is a masterpiece." Well, I think the devs, Ember Labs, said that it was planned for other consoles at some point, but you have no idea what the timed exclusivity of Kenna is. Could be possible Sony extended it because the year, 1 year, it's been 1 year, so But then we've seen other games where 1 year, they don't come right away. So, but then again, I could totally see Sony buying Ember Lab and kind of never coming to Xbox. So it's out on PC now. Maybe it comes to Xbox next year. Who knows? John Martin says, "Hey guys, just doing mine to help Jez retire early and live off Patreon. Have a great day." Yeah, if
so much, buddy.
Jez talks about all the plans he has for Patreon, and if you got a lot of plans that you want to do. Jez is even talking about quitting his job and doing Patreon stuff for you guys, and I'm just like, I don't know about that, Jez. Be careful, You're still a senior editor at Windows Central. Like nobody's gonna nobody's gonna link your stuff when you're no longer, because then you'd just be random old Jez Corden, unless you're Tom Henderson and you make a new website like Insider Gaming,
Yeah, Tom Henderson's making all that bank, baby, cashing in on all his insider skills.
Yeah, I saw his latest article was Titanfall's coming to Apex Legends. They were mastering 9 Titanfall maps or something and putting it into Apex.
God, that's pain. That's pain. You're gonna tease me with that and not give me Wall Running or give me Titans and stuff?
Yeah,
I hate Apex Legends, man. I know it's popular, but I don't care. I hate Apex Legends. I hate that it's the reason Titanfall is dead, when in reality it's EA's fault. What you really gonna send Titanfall out, ship it between Call of Duty and Battlefield, and expect it to do well? I hate EA, man. I hate them.
I know a lot of Titanfall fans like, please get Titanfall 3, and then they're like, we're putting Titanfall maps in Apex Legends. Like, oh, that means we can use the Titan? No Titans, and we're changing the maps sort of because there's no wall running. It's like, what's the point then? Right? Yeah. Don Otaku says, play Fire Emblem instead of the cheap knockoff. Uh-oh, Jez, I think he's talking to you. Maybe about Diofield Chronicles, maybe?
Yeah, I really want to play Fire Emblem, but it's just one of them crazy backlog games,
Yeah.
I actually own it, I think. Someone bought me Fire Emblem for like my birthday or something a while ago, and I just never got around to it. And now my Switch is in England, thousands of miles away.
Brett says Grounded should be rebranded as Honey, I Shrunk the Skyrim or Backyard Skyrim. Yeah, it's definitely a big world, and it definitely, even playing on mild, we're 30 hours in, and you do these like little labs that you have to go through to find the stuff, and those labs are super cool, and you got to find where they're at, and it feels like I'm not even halfway done because I still got way more to do in the story. So you're talking about definitely a lengthy campaign. Humdrung says, Obsidian releasing 2 games this year is straight up embarrassing for some Xbox studios. Rare is never pushing Everwild, Compulsion is MIA, and Undead is MIA. Well, Obsidian's put out Obsidian put out Grounded 2 years ago, and they're basically working with the community. I would imagine that probably doesn't work well with Compulsion's game for whatever building. That's a single player game, so they would keep it under wraps. Same thing with Undead Labs. I don't really see them doing early access because they kind of sort of know what they need to do for State of Decay 3. Everwild, yeah, Rare might have screwed up with Everwild because by all accounts, it's kind of got to do like a little soft reboot, but Obsidian, it's not like Obsidian put out Avowed and Outer Worlds 2 this year, like 2 of their bigger games. They finally released a game that they've been working on for 2 years with fans. And the other game is another small project from Josh Sawyer, which I expect to be good as well. So I'm not really sure you can compare those games to an Everwild or State of Decay 3 or whatever. But I will agree with the sentiment that 2022 for Xbox is, not a good year for first party, that is. So if that's what you're trying to get across, then, I think I've said that I don't know how many times, and I'm sure people are probably sick of hearing it, but that's the case. But that's why me and Jess said I think Obsidian are workhorses, even if they haven't put out Avowed. Like, does anybody? I don't know. I just think like when a studio, like, I don't know, like with Avowed, I'm like, I expect it to be good. Like, there's no part of me that is worried about how good Avowed is going to be. Like, I already have it in my mind. It's probably going to be like 85 meta. It's going to be a great game that people love. Like, I have no, like, with some studios, like with Compulsion, for example, I don't know, because Compulsion, in my opinion, made 2 completely mediocre games. So I'm not convinced they have it in them to actually step up, even though they've been hiring a lot, and to make something special. I'm not convinced because I haven't seen it before. But we've seen Obsidian make great games before. And we've seen them make great games under Xbox. So, to me, I'm not worried about Avowed being bad, right? Whereas, like, some of these, like, Undead Labs, I don't know, State of Decay 1 and 2, like, State of Decay 2 is okay. Like, is State of Decay, are they going to take the next step? I'm not too convinced either, you know? But, like even with Rare, like, Everwild, I mean, I don't know, maybe.
I've been like analyzing Rare Undead Labs hiring. They've hired some serious talent onto making that game, and you know, like a lot of people are saying, I often see these comments where people are like, "Oh my god, like, are they even working on State of Decay 3?" You know, because they do so many updates on State of Decay 2. You know, State of Decay 2 is still supported, and it constantly gets new content. Like every few weeks, there's a new patch with some kind of free content and free update. That's actually being worked on by a support studio. I believe it's Wushu Studios who are making State of Decay 2 right now and keeping that game alive. So the core of Undead Labs and all the new people they've hired all around America and the world, you know, they're doing that remote development thing. They're all working on State of Decay 2, and they're using the data, State of Decay 3, sorry, and they're using the data from State of Decay 2 to inform how they build State of Decay 3. So I am actually quite excited to see them get to the next level. And I do know that they're going for a higher degree of photorealism per that trailer, you know, from which made me nervous. I was quite nervous when I saw that trailer because I was like, "Oh, that's implying they're going for, like, you know, photorealism." But you know, apparently that is what they're going for. So we'll have to wait and see.
Danny wants to know what are our top 5 most anticipated Xbox games. Okay, I'll give you mine. Top 5 most anticipated. 1, Hellblade 2. Hellblade 2, number 1. Number 2, Perfect Dark. I think Crystal Dynamics, in collaboration with the Initiative, is gonna do something really cool. So number 1's Hellblade. Number 2 is Perfect Dark. Number 3 is Fable. Because I think Playground Games is gonna take that next step into being one of the premier gaming developers, you know, across every, like, once, like, I know people kind of like, hey, Playground's great, but I only make racing games, and they make the best racing games, and they pull off Fable. Like, you're gonna have to put them up there with the Naughty Dogs and the Rockstars and the stuff like that. Is like, they did this, a racing game, and they did a RPG. So 1, Hellblade 2, 2, Perfect Dark, 3 would be, like I said, Fable. 4 would probably be Project Dragon, simply because it's IO Interactive, and I'm a big fan of IO Interactive. And 5 would be, so you're thinking about all the studios. The problem is we don't know what we. Well, let me, because now I'm also thinking about Bethesda, because I totally forgot about Bethesda. So let me redo the list. Hellblade 2, Hellblade 2, Perfect Dark, Starfield, Fable, Redfall. But that list is subject to change because I don't know what id's working on, and whatever id's working on would shoot up at the top. You know, Indiana Jones would probably be right outside the list. If it was Wolfenstein 3, it'd be in the top 5. You know, so what is our Arcane? You know, we just got Deathloop, so Arcane Leon's going to be working on something else, which would immediately be in the top. And then you could talk about Activision Blizzard. Like, I'm sure Jez would have the survival game from Blizzard on there. It's tough to kind of remember all the
Odyssey.
games because I don't have a list of the studios in front of me to remember. So, but number one is
There's
Hellblade
a
2.
handy list on Windows Central for that.
There is,
for that
but
exact
for
purpose.
me, number one would be Hellblade 2. What about you, Jez? What's your top 5? Are they all Blizzard games?
Nah, Starfield is at the top quite easily, I think. I love Todd Howard. The man can do no wrong in my book. So, yeah, give me the next Todd Howard game and I'll be sitting pretty. Also, like, I am pretty intrigued by Ara History Untold.
Okay.
I like my strategy games. I really like Civ, so I'm intrigued what they're building there. I'm also very excited about Avowed because Avowed is Obsidian, and I also like Pillars of Eternity Universe, even though I've never actually finished Pillared because the game keeps breaking on me. I've tried to play Pillars like 3 times, and I keep discovering new game-breaking bugs. I need to just play the Steam version and with like a community patch or something that fixes the hard breaks in it or something. State of Decay 3, I'm very excited for because I do think they are going to get to that next level. And also, I'm going to say The Wandering Tower.
Oh, what? Wait a minute. What? I've never heard.
Huh?
I've never heard of. Well, I know what the Wandering Tower is because you told me before the show. But I'm trying to play it up as I don't know. The Wandering Tower. Now I'm trying to think.
Then
That is
play
not
it then.
That is not a game that is currently has. What is the Wandering Tower? I can't think of any Xbox game that has that name for a title, Jez. What is it?
Oh, well, Rand, allow me to inform you.
You know what? Just before, this is definitely going to be slothed, 100%.
Yeah.
So,
Project Balfrey. The name is The Wandering Tower. Project Balfrey's game is called The Wandering Tower, and I discovered some more details about it recently, and it sounds very, very, very cool indeed. So I am pretty excited for what Stoic's working on. And yeah, that's The Wandering Tower. Very intrigued about that. That's the working title. Maybe they've changed the title, but I don't think they have. But yeah.
Yeah, about to be slothed. I know it.
Slothed.
This is what happens when Jez gets a little rum in him, I guess. Andrew says,
I do like this Remedy stuff. It's really good.
Andrew says State of Decay 2 is basically State of Decay 3 beta with new mechanics. Humdrung says, are you convinced with Rare Rand? I mean, Sea of Thieves proved me wrong. I didn't care for Sea of Thieves. I still don't care for Sea of Thieves, but I mean, you can't argue with the support they've given and how much people love that game. I'm more not convinced that something like Everwild or like what Everwild is something that could be as big as Sea of Thieves, but I mean, I don't know. It's tough to say when their last game they make didn't really resonate with you and you didn't really care for. And a lot of people love Sea of Thieves. So, and Metal Morbo says, you think NXI will do Wasteland 4 or a new game? Well, I believe they're doing Project Cobalt. So that's a new IP, steampunk. Do they
mean Frostpoint? What?
Well, he was like, he was saying, do they do Wasteland 4 or a new game? Hey, what? Did I miss something?
Wait, what? No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Wait, did I just miss something?
Miss what? What are you talking about? We're drinking some whiskey. No, rum. Remedy rum. It's very, very good stuff.
Claudio says Rand forgot Wolfenstein 3. Wolfenstein is done. Finished. Let it end, man. We need new IP. Lots of new IP. New ideas, new settings, new characters. Wolfenstein 3 is not finished,
Excuse me?
There is no Wolfenstein 3. There's Wolfenstein 1 and Wolfenstein 2 and then Wolfenstein Youngblood. They still need to finish out the trilogy. As much as I want new IP, new ideas and all that stuff, I'm 100% behind you. But they need to finish out the Wolfenstein trilogy, and then they can go make whatever they want to make, which is Indiana Jones, which I'm excited for because even though that's not a new IP, it is something new. It's new setting, new ideas, new characters, even if it's an established one. So, no, sir, I am not forgetting Wolfenstein 3. I need Wolfenstein 3. The people over at the Xbox official thread over at Reset Era, who were clamoring and making posts about how Wolfenstein 3 was going to be announced not only at this past E3, but maybe even Shadow Drop this year, who turned all their little helmets, their little avatar helmets into, avatars and with little helmets. They want Wolfenstein. I would imagine Xbox Era wants Wolfenstein. Who are you, sir, to say that? Forget about Wolfenstein. No, not on my show, not on my channel, not at all. We will be getting Wolfenstein, or else. I'm not forgetting about Wolfenstein. I ain't take that type of slander here, sir. Definitely not.
Slander!
Paul says...
Rand, I really do like this rum.
Okay.
It's a good rum, man.
Paul says, what is the most overhyped game of all time in your guys' opinion? To me, it's Destiny. Yeah, it'd probably be Destiny. Destiny was probably one of the most overhyped games. I mean, that game was just hyped to the moon. I can't think of any other game that was hyped so much and then disappointed so much.
Destiny?
Yes.
Surely No Man's Sky was more overhyped and more disappointing.
No Man's Sky, yeah, but there's levels to it. No Man's Sky, small indie dev, Bungie being Bungie. Sure, I guess like the way they showed up No Man's Sky. Sure, like okay.
Hold on a sec.
But bro,
was Destiny really disappointing?
Yes.
I kind of feel like it was huge and it's continued to be huge since it launched.
Destiny is one of the most... No, Destiny 2 may be good now, even though it took years to get good. But you're talking about one of the most overhyped games?
Actually, I do remember that whole meme about, like, you can go to those mountains.
Yeah, you can
and then
go,
you just couldn't.
and you couldn't. And the game got mediocre reviews, like 72s. Like, it was the first game by Bungie, right? Not Halo. You remember the marketing cycle for that? Yeah, it's probably... Well, Clickham says Cyberpunk, which... I mean, you could make an argument for Cyberpunk.
Wait, what?
Cyberpunk being...
What do you mean? Cyberpunk Game of the Year 2020?
No, definitely Cyberpunk being one of those, type of games.
No. Cyberpunk was not overhyped. And it was flawless at launch. What are you talking about? What are you talking about, Rand? It's fake news, man.
Fake news. All right.
God.
Let's if you guys are enjoying the show, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe if it's your first time here. Hey, Guardian Black says that man was a little spicy about Wolfenstein. Look, I love me my Wolfenstein. I love me Machine Games. I don't want anybody in here being like, no more Wolfenstein. Like, no. I want Wolfenstein 3. Then you can basically do whatever else afterwards. Finish what you started. Let's just dive right into the Halo rumors, because we got over 1,300 people watching, or close to 1,300 people. Thank you guys for being here.
Dude.
Started off with...
we been podcasting for 90 minutes without actually getting into a topic?
I mean, about an hour and 10 minutes or so.
We're gonna be here for another 3
No,
hours.
we don't. I mean, even though we have a bunch of topics, we don't necessarily have to go through them all. Like, we're having a good time with everybody in chat. That's why we're
pace myself, man.
That's why we're
I'm
going.
Feeling pretty wasted.
Look, this is why we're going to Halo rumors right away. Okay, we talked extensively about Grounded, all this stuff, and I see my buddy Sam in chat. You and Magic need to play Grounded, Sam. It's quite. I know you played it before, but I think you and Magic would have a great time with it. And you probably spent. I don't know if you spent as much time as you spent in Ark, but you definitely would be enjoying yourself. So, all right, let's go Halo. I got a bunch of DMs about this. I know you addressed it on Twitter. I sort of talked about it in the video. This info came from a YouTuber, I believe Sean W.
Sean W.
Basically talked about the idea that the Battle Royale was delayed. It was supposed to come out next year, but may have been delayed to 2024. Maybe even 2025 because, well, there's an engine change, and that the next campaign DLC is also sort of outside of Halo Infinite because there's an engine change. And then he says some stuff about Bobby Kotick still being like on the board of directors, and Bonnie Ross not being fired, leaving for a legit family emergency, but then coming back to run ABK. So I'll I'm gonna talk about the Bobby Kotick thing and the Bonnie Ross thing first, because I think that's easily whatever, and we'll talk about the Halo engine things, right? So
I think it's important to note that some of the things that Sean W said were speculative,
sure,
and I think because he this is a mistake we often make in the whole
well,
leaker sphere, is that we sometimes we'll do a report on something that we think is true and something that's happening, and then we'll speculate on something else. And then because the report also contains speculation, the speculation gets painted as a leak. So I think when he was talking about Bonnie Ross, there was some speculation there. I don't think he was necessarily leaking that. But anyway, we'll discuss it regardless, because that is what's out there, you know.
yes.
Sean W got sloth.
So shout out to Ice Cold for becoming the newest member of the channel. Appreciate you, man. Enjoy all the emotes and everything. So let's see. He said that Bobby Kotick will be leaving as CEO of Activision Blizzard. Yeah, no shit, because Phil's taking over and CEO of Microsoft Gaming. But he would be staying on as a board member. But the thing about that is Activision's board is going to be dissolved once the deal goes through. Very much the same as how ZeniMax's board was dissolved when that deal went through. There will be no board of directors of Activision when the Activision deal goes through. So that didn't make any sense unless Sean W meant he was going to be on the board of directors at Microsoft, which wouldn't be a good look for Microsoft, in my opinion, if that was what he was referring to. Bobby Kotick is a toxic individual that has a lot of baggage with him, and I think a lot of people in the gaming industry just want him gone. Here, take your golden parachute, take your paycheck, and just don't let the door hit you on the ass and get, as you leave, essentially. That's so the idea that
is that the saying?
I mean, no, I screwed up the saying because I'm reading chat. I screwed up the saying, but you get the gist of what I was saying. So my point is that there is going to be no Activision board once the deal goes through, and I can't see Microsoft inviting him to be on the board of directors of Microsoft, because I think that would be a very bad PR hit for them. So, in my opinion, I think Bobby's gone completely, and that would be the smart thing to do. As far as Bonnie Ross is concerned, I don't see her leaving for a family medical problem only to return a few months later and be like, psych, I'm running Activision now, guys. You know what I mean? I also feel like that is I don't know, that feels to me that is this, I don't know, that doesn't pass the smell test for me at all.
I guarantee that I don't think you'll see Bonnie Ross at Microsoft again.
Okay.
From what I've heard. I just put it bluntly. I don't think Bonnie's I'm not sure if they parted on particularly good terms. It's true that there is a family medical emergency from from what I know, but it wasn't entirely about that, I don't think. So I don't think you'll see Bonnie Ross working at Microsoft again, whether it's with Activision or whatever.
Yeah,
but
I just can't see.
I've heard that there's a chance Bonnie might be making her own studio.
I mean, I could see that happening. I could see her leaving and then sometime in the future opening up her own studio and poaching people from that were her people from 343 to come over. I just the idea of her leaving only to show up a little bit afterwards and be like, I'm running ABK now. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't know who would promote to, leader of Activision. I don't know if it would be CEO of Activision. Maybe it would be
me.
People would say Mike Ybarra would be promoted, but I don't think Mike Ybarra is. And I like Mike Ybarra a lot, but I don't know if he would be promoted. I could see them.
You know why I'd like Mike Ybarra for that job?
Why? Because Mike Ybarra is a true gamer.
He's a true World of Warcraft gamer.
Yeah.
The dude does mythic keys above 30. Do you know how hardcore that is? To do mythic keys above
No idea
30?
I have no idea what that is. I guess my buddy Sam could say that because my buddy Sam he's playing World of Warcraft Classic now because of something called the Lich King or something. I don't know.
Something called the Lich King. What the hell, Rand?
I
you don't even know who the Lich King is?
I don't know.
Lich King is more famous than Master Chief, man. The Lich King dicks on Master Chief. Baby.
I don't know anything about that. I mean, maybe you and Jez maybe Jez and Sam should play together. You guys might enjoy, World of Warcraft pros. He's all for the Horde. Right. He's for the Horde, by the way. He's like a Horde character. Yeah. I don't know. Are you Alliance?
Yeah. Horde. No, I'm Alliance.
I don't know.
Do you even know who I am?
I don't know.
Hell no, I'm not Alliance. I'm Horde. Of course I'm Horde. But dude, I put it this way. You know how hardcore I am at WoW and how much I play WoW. I've never done a Mythic Key 20. And Mikey Barra is doing Mythic Key 30. That's hardcore, man. That is as hardcore as it gets. So, like, that's why I like the idea of Mike being the leader of Blizzard. Because he actually plays the game. Can you imagine a gamer running a gaming company? Can you imagine this?
I mean, I can.
Crazy idea.
It's not that hard to imagine because Phil runs Xbox and Phil's a gamer. What do you mean? He's not a Jim Ryan who's never touched a game controller in his life. Phil's out there.
I wonder what's Bobby Kotick's gamer score?
0. He never played anything either.
Oh man,
Phil's been playing Grounded the last few days. We all know how much he loves Destiny.
Yeah, that's true.
So, I don't know who they'll promote.
World of Warcraft
I don't know if it'll be Ibarra. I don't know if it'll be somebody at Activision. I don't know if they take somebody from Xbox and put him in charge, like if you took Sarah Bond and put him in charge of Activision or something. I don't know, but
I think that's what we said before was the idea of Sarah Bond running Activision. I think that'd be pretty cool. But also at the same time, I think Sarah Bond's doing an amazing job where she is. So I don't know if it's kind of like, is that a good thing? Yeah, I want I like the idea of my dream, honestly, would be like I don't know, someone like Sarah Bond or Mikey Barra, someone who's actually a gamer, because Bobby Kotick's been running Activision for so long that it's kind of like you can just sort of feel where it's sort of the accountant has the accountant in the business has restricted the potential of some of these franchises, and you can feel it already in World of Warcraft. How there's been a massive change in direction since Mikey Barra's come on. They've gone back to like some of the old school design mentality about the game, rather than the sort of like Shadowlands had like a pseudo battle pass attached to it. God, ridiculous. You're gonna make a subscription based game and then gate progression behind a battle pass. It's ridiculous. So like that's gone now. And they're bringing back some of the old school design stuff, which to me is just because Mikey Barra's there and he actually hardcore plays the game, and he's just sort of injecting what he knows is good about WoW back into the game. So, man, it's just so exciting just to think that there are actual gamers running gaming companies and we're getting rid of Bobby Bloody Kotick. I don't know.
By the way, we got Sloth, but Sloth Cloud Project Belfry's game, the Wandering Tower.
Oh,
not the Wandering Tower, the Wandering Tower.
Yeah.
We love you, Sloth. I think you might have to delete that tweet because it's not wondering, it's wandering.
I replied. It's okay.
Elijah Vasquez, member for 2 months, says Cyberpunk was one of the best games despite the bugs, but you're thinking of PUBG. Okay, fair enough. So what were we talking about? Oh yes, the Halo stuff. So those are the two things about Bonnie Ross and Bobby Kotick. But the other parts of the rumor that I think more people are focused on are the future of Halo. Because the Battle Royale being delayed into 2024 is, whew, I mean, that's a long time from now. We're not even in 2023 yet. I think people thought we would at least see the battle. Some people thought we see the Battle Royale announced this year. And Certain Affinity basically gave an interview recently where they admitted, like, yeah, our biggest project is something we're working on for Halo Infinite. We got like close to 100 devs on it. It's something new to the franchise, but we can't really say what it is. I mean, we know it's the Battle Royale mode. But the idea that they're switching from the Slipspace engine to a different engine, presumably Unreal Engine 5, and then the next campaign content would be switched to work on Unreal Engine 5. Like, I'm not a tech guy, so I don't know if that's even remotely possible. But I don't know. I know you were looking into this. You were investigating.
I've been on this all week.
Yeah, you've been. So what have you found? Like, I don't have anything to add outside of my own speculation. Where I would just say, I wouldn't be surprised if they did switch engines, but then I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't. Like, anything with Halo Infinite, I'm just not shocked at anymore. I have heard from people that Slipspace engine is bad and not easy to work with, and they might want to work with a different engine, but I don't know. So what have you found in your research?
Okay, so it's been really hard to actually lock down the truth here. And I do want to give Sean W an apology, because when I saw that tweet, I think it was Mr. Sloth's tweet. I saw that tweet and it was just kind of like, yeah, the Halo switching engine and stuff like that. And I just kind of assumed that it was like some rumor from 4chan or Reddit or something. And I was just kind of like, there's no way. There's no way they'd switch engine for Tatanka. Tatanka's been in development since 2019 or 2018. I think it's 2019 off the top of my head. And it's, as far as I know, it was being developed on the Slipspace engine because they were given the source code to Halo Infinite. You know, why would you need the source code if you were developing it on a separate engine as a separate entity? And also, in the original schematic for the game, it was supposed to incorporate Forge, and it was also supposed to incorporate all your Halo Infinite progression as well into Tatanka. So any of the skins that you unlocked in Halo Infinite, you could also use them in Tatanka. So, sorry. For me, that kind of suggested that this is part of Halo Infinite. And pretty much, you know, Certain Affinity said in an interview with VentureBeat literally this week that they're working on something pretty big for Halo Infinite, which to me refers to Tatanka being part of Halo Infinite. However, there is some, like, you know, there's some logic behind the possibility of them switching engine, you know. And while I haven't locked down anything definitive, I haven't locked down a shred of evidence to back up Sean W's claims, unfortunately. Some of it just kind of makes sense. For example, you said that Slipspace engine is a pain to work with. You know, that is supposedly true. Apparently, Slipspace has, like, very bad developer tools. And if you're going to, like, bring on a third party to work with it, that's kind of like, if your tool set's not particularly great, then that kind of creates an issue, right? Second of all, they actually fired David Berger. And David Berger was the guy in charge of the Slipspace engine. They, you know, even though I don't think Microsoft has acknowledged the fact that David Berger's gone, or, you know, I say fired. I don't know if he was fired, but David Berger's out. He's no longer there, and he was leading technology on the Slipspace engine at 343, and he's kind of not there anymore. But Microsoft hasn't acknowledged that, and, you know, PR declined to, you know, comment on it, which is kind of strange, right? If you got rid of the guy who, you know, architected Slipspace engine, that kind of might be evidence of a massive change in direction, that you're moving towards Unreal Engine instead, right? Now, there's a possibility that if they have moved to Unreal Engine, that they can still do API calls to bring your progression and your skins from, the Slipspace engine into Tatanka. Even if it is on a different engine, maybe they just port the models across and give you the same kind of skins and whatever unlocks you've got. Maybe that can work. Sorry. Getting tired here. Already, it's only 11 p.m. But maybe they can port some of that stuff across using API calls and that kind of thing. But at the same time, it's kind of like, dude, if they're seriously dropping engine at this point in development and moving on to something else, that's a massive amount of sunk cost. Microsoft also is not a company that really cares about sunk cost. They literally wrote off the entire acquisition of Nokia, which ran into the billions of dollars, and they swallowed that sunk cost like it was nothing. So this is like, this probably amounts to not even tens of millions of dollars, that's going to be lost. So to Microsoft, it's no big deal if they are switching engine, if they are, writing off what they've done so far, and if they are changing tack on Tatanka. Maybe it's kind of like, to them, they're kind of thinking like Unreal Engine is the best way for this game to actually, find its legs and find its identity. And maybe there's issues with Slipspace that aren't conducive to making a battle royale light, which is what supposedly this is meant to be. They describe it in the original schematic. The whole design intent around Tatanka was that it was supposed to be a game that non-Halo fans could access. It's the trending game portion of Halo Infinite. Your Battle Royale. It's your Fortnite allegory or your Apex Legends allegory, But if they are going to, switch the engine at this point in development, man, that's going to surely coincide with a pretty significant delay. I heard originally that Tatanka was supposed to launch around January of 2022. So, it was supposed to launch in January 2022 originally. That was the original sort of the hope for it. But that was before the pandemic. And then we got the pandemic and all shit went crazy. And obviously we got delays and all that kind of stuff. And and fast forward to now, September 2022, and we still don't have it. We don't even have season 3. So I heard it was meant to launch around season 3, and it was meant to launch around January, but neither of those things came to pass. So then it's kind of like, is it going to launch around season 4? But if they're switching engine, does it even launch around season 4? Are we looking at season 5 now? It's kind of like crazy to think that they could switch engine at this point in the game. But at the same time, maybe it's kind of like they really feel like they have something special here, something that is good for Halo, something that is unique enough that they would make that kind of risk and make that leap to move it to a different engine, But the truth is, all of this is speculation. I haven't been able to get any hard confirmation that the game has switched engine. I haven't been able to get hard confirmation that it was originally on Slipspace anyway. It seems, from my information that I've got, that it was supposed to connect to Forge and stuff, suggests that indeed it was supposed to be on Slipspace. Because if, the whole point of Slipspace is that it, it's designed around Forge and user-generated content because they want to monetize that system eventually, I think. I think Forge is how they monetize Halo Infinite, and they're looking at it in a similar way to Roblox or Minecraft, where companies and devs can come in and make crazy maps and crazy mods and then sell it on the marketplace for Halo Infinite. I think that's the whole idea. There's no confirmation they're going to do that. But I kind of feel like that's the idea, right? But if you pull in Forge out of Tatanka, then you lose that marketing proposition. and you also lose like some of the integratedness of the two game modes, right? So all this is speculation right now. I have no hard confirmation that there is an engine switch happening. I have no hard confirmation, honestly, that it wasn't being developed on Unreal Engine from the outset. You know, I've actually got some hints that maybe it was being developed on Unreal Engine from the outset. But there's also some hints that it wasn't, you know, considering that I know it was supposed to integrate Forge. But I ain't a developer. You know, I am not a developer. I don't know if they can do Forge integration across two different engines. I have no idea because I'm not a developer, and I have no idea what their plans are for some of this stuff. You know, I have no idea what you know, technology that Microsoft has got that could back up some of this stuff. So all of this is speculation. And God, it's hilarious to me because Rand, they haven't even announced the tanker yet.
Yeah, that is true.
We're here talking about it like we know what it is. We don't know what it is. You know, all we've got is like the vaguest of hints from the Halo API. You know, data mining the Halo API and going through the source code or whatever code we can data mine from the executable client on PC, and that like the little strings of text which kind of suggest that maybe it's a battle royale and stuff like that. And you know, my information from the start of the year that Tatanka exists, and then Certain Affinity coming out and being like, yeah, we are working on Halo Infinite. They haven't formally announced it. So it's kind of driving me crazy. Microsoft, please, just announce it, okay? We all know it's real. We all know it's a thing. So just come out and announce it because it's driving me crazy. But yeah, that's what I know about Tatanka, and that's what I expect right now.
Well, hopefully that's good enough for everybody, and hopefully people don't, you know, I mean, you presented your, you know, thing as like, this is heavy speculation on your part, and you don't have any concrete information, so hopefully this doesn't end up all over the internet, because, you know, these things typically do most of the time, so I guess we'll
I just want to address Halo the Endless as well, because, you know, the same video talked about what the hell's going on with Halo the Endless. Microsoft trademarked the Halo the Endless, which, you know, I don't want to spoil it, but for those who haven't played, but the Endless is sort of like a new faction that are revealed in Halo Infinite fairly early in the game, so it's not like exactly a major spoiler. But the whole expectation is that the Endless is the DLC, the story DLC that continues Halo Infinite's story progression, you know, because Halo Infinite kind of ends on a little bit of a cliffhanger, you know. There's like a post-credit scene which sort of like hints that there's more to come, right? Mm-hmm. And also like the Endless aren't really explained that well in the game. Like, what the are they? You know, you don't even know, really. So one of the other speculations from Sean W's video on YouTube was that the Endless is also like a standalone game and it's not going to be part of Halo Infinite. I have no information about the Endless. Like, I've never had a shred of information about the Endless. You know, all my information was about Tatanka. I never had any information about the Endless, but my expectation personally is that the Endless is part of Halo Infinite. You know, it hasn't panned out as they expected. You know, it kind of like Halo Infinite was the very brand Infinite suggests that Infinite was going to be this kind of platform that they were going to add things to. You know, because we've got Assassin's Creed Infinite coming. The whole identity of Infinite suggests that you're going to add things to it. You're going to add campaign stuff to it. You're going to add to the multiplayer. So, like, if the Endless and Tatanka are separate games completely, like truly separate games that don't integrate Halo Infinite at all, that's kind of like an admission of defeat, right? So, but at the same time, Bonnie Ross is out. David Berger is out. And maybe that's, where you add in your complete and utter change of direction. Maybe Bonnie Ross was the person that was stopping that change in direction happening. And maybe Microsoft's just kind of approaching it like, well, Halo Infinite's kind of not done that great. So why don't we just move on to the next thing, But at this point, it's just speculation. It's all speculation. So we just have to wait and see.
Interesting. Well, thank you for the info. Moving on from Halo, we got the Demon Wizard in the super chat saying, "Hey Jez, in the opening sequence of Grounded, we see the Xbox Studios logo. The O in the Xbox is a reference to Microsoft 1982 logo. Just wanted to share." Yeah, the logo's pretty retro. I did notice that. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
man, that's really cool. Good point. Good spot.
Chris R says, if they were truly switching engines, would they want to go with something like id Tech because Microsoft owns it? I don't think they'd want to pay Epic. I mean, I don't know how else he's going to play it. I don't know. I mean, who knows? F-Boy says, does Microsoft buy Netflix after Activision? I mean, there were that one rumor from that one, analyst that they were trying to get cozy, but maybe one day. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I still am not really convinced Microsoft wants to get into the entertainment business in that way. So,
dude, I want it to happen.
I know you do. I want
it to happen. I would love for Microsoft to buy Netflix. Just do it. What is Netflix's market cap? Let's look it up. Netflix market cap. It's $104 billion.
Yeah, it's a lot of money. It's going to cost a lot of money.
So they'd have to pay a premium on that. So like what, $130 billion? $140
billion. Yeah.
Oh man, that is hilarious. Like, can Microsoft even afford that?
Probably.
I don't know, man.
Frank,
I don't know.
Frank F says, Rand, ask Jez what Frostpoint is.
I've never. What's Frostpoint?
People are in chat saying, ask Jez what Frostpoint is. What's Frostpoint, Jez?
I've never heard of it.
You never heard of Frostpoint? Okay.
No, I never heard of it. Never. What is Frostpoint? Never heard of it, mate.
Never heard of it. I asked him, Frank. I asked Orange Chair, Cam. I'm asking him what Frostpoint is. He doesn't know. No.
What are you talking about? Nah, Frostpoint, like, I'm not sure about Frostpoint. I think Frostpoint might be the code name for Wasteland 3, but it also might be the name of Cobalt. So I'm not sure, but it also might be the name of a cancelled project or something. But Frostpoint's like, it's really funny. When I was trying to research what the hell's going on with Tatanka, and I ended up finding out all this other information and all these other code names and stuff like that. So I got a bunch of new code names on the docket as well, like Graphene. What the hell's Graphene? I don't know. What the hell's Xbox Dawn Protocol? I don't know. There's some kind of there's like a bunch of new code names floating around right now, but Frostpoint was just sort of a name that I associated with an exile. So either it's the code name for Wasteland 3, which I think is fairly possible because Wasteland 3 was set in Colorado and snow and ice was a big theme, or it's the working title of Cobalt, but I'm not 100% sure on either of that. So don't take Frostpoint as a leak. It might literally be nothing. It might literally be nothing.
Too big.
That's
Sloth. Too late. You're up there.
Sloth.
I don't know.
Great.
Eventually. Brett says, couldn't the recently announced partnership with Epic be to integrate the two engines? I don't know. I mean, they have that partnership with Fortnite and playing Fortnite on Xbox, like game streaming, but who knows? So yeah, that's all the Halo stuff. Now, new Gears of War trademark. So Microsoft trademarked Gears of War, right? And Nick is gonna come for you, Jez, because Nick, our buddy Special Nick of Xbox Era, He says he's more doubly, triply more convinced than ever that the Gears collection is real. And once it's confirmed and once it's announced, he's coming for you. And me too. But he's definitely coming for you. So
he can come. He can come for me, man.
he's
It's
going to come
fine.
for you. And he's going to raise
fine.
hell. He's going to raise hell, bro.
It can raise hell. You know, if the Gears collection is real, I will apologize to Special Nick profusely. But, you know, there's only one player in this game who has 100% track record, baby.
Ooh.
And that's me.
You're putting the track record. Well,
that's me.
You're putting the track record out there? Oh man.
Yep.
Are you going to be on Xbox Era this weekend?
I was going to jump on with Special Nick, but then I realized they go live at midnight German time. So I said, yeah. So I said, what I'll do is I'll come on Xbox Era when I'm back in England and I can stay up really late. But yeah, if Special Nick's right about, to be honest, I hope he's right. You know, I'd love for there to be a Gears Master Chief collection that incorporates all the maps and, you know, all the game modes into one package. You know, okay, Humdrum Dog says you're wrong about Starfield being cross-gen. No, I wasn't, because there was an Xbox One version. Okay, there was an Xbox One version of Starfield. It just got cancelled. So I'm not going to take that as being wrong. That's correct on a technicality. Okay.
Yeah, you're trying to do everything to remain your 100% batting average here.
Yeah, okay. But yeah. I don't know. I still think we could see Starfield on past gen. You know,
I mean, it will be on past gen because it's streaming.
Yeah, streaming.
Yeah, but
streaming,
I mean, that's
exactly.
still next gen version, anyways. So
but can you play Starfield on an Xbox One? If the answer is yes, my track record's still 100%.
Well, enough about the new Gears Award trademark. E3 is also back.
E3
is
nice.
back. Partner showcases will start June 11th, which is a Sunday, which I would imagine you can pencil in as the date that Microsoft is going to do their E3 show, as it's always that Sunday. And E3 will be running from June 13th to June 16th. And the first 2 days, the Tuesday and Wednesday, June 13th and 14th, would be for members of the press and media. And June 15th and 16th, the Thursday and Friday, are open to everybody. So how you feel about E3 coming back, man?
Happy that it's coming back, because E3 is amazing. And Rand, we're gonna go.
Are we gonna have an Xbox 2 meetup at E3 next year? Could we actually do it? Because, you know, to have a meetup, we both got to be there. And Colt and Gaz and Tim are really trying to drag me to E3. But I'm trying to work on myself. I'm trying to get better. I've been on this diet for a month and a half. I've lost 30 pounds so far. I feel better. I've still got a long way to go. So, granted, E3's in June, and I would love to be able to go to see you again, to see Colt for the first time, Sean LeBrie, everybody in the Xbox community that's there, people that watch the show. I hate calling people who watch my videos fans, because I don't know, makes me feel weird to say that I have fans, but people that I don't know. I think it'd be really cool if we could go to E3, if Microsoft was doing a live show somehow, like bring back that, and we could all go and hang out together. But it really depends on my physical shape. If I'll be able to do it. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try, because I do want to go. Oh my God,
Rand!
What?
Sorry, I gotta address this. Infinity Doc just super chat. Frostpoint was a VR shooter, and XR mad for Oculus Rift, and he's completely right. Yeah. Frostpoint VR proving grounds. Frostpoint is a VR multiplayer shooter from an XR. Okay, that's what that was then. Jeez. I wasn't sure what it was.
Sloth, delete your tweet. It's just a VR shooter that nobody played because nobody even knew it existed.
Yeah. So I was like, what is this? Frostpoint? Is that Cobalt's name? Cobalt is blue. Frost is kind of blue. Oh man, but no, the Wandering Tower stuff is legit. Okay, that's why I was coughing when I was talking about Frostpoint, because I didn't actually know what the hell I was talking about. But the Wandering Tower stuff is legit, so you can leave that tweet up, Sloth. Yeah, Rand, I was like, you were talking about Wolfenstein earlier, and I just randomly downloaded it.
You should. It's great.
Wolfenstein's amazing.
Can't believe nobody wants the Wolfenstein 3 to come out on next-gen hardware from Machine Games. I mean, come on. Yeah,
come on.
But I mean, the Xbox Fan Fest was amazing back in 2016. I met so many cool people. Watching the showcase live was such a treat. And yeah, like every year I do get that sense of jealousy, I guess. I don't know if it's really like, oh man, everybody's there having a good time and I'm here by myself, like whatever. So I mean, there's a part of me that like really does just, I want to go next year. I want to hang out with you. I want to hang out with everybody in chat. We could have an Xbox 2 meetup. You want to hang out with all the Xbox community and like have watch the showcase. Like that'd be great. But E3's back. I'm sure Jeff Keighley probably feels a certain way because he thought he'd be the new E3. Right, so yeah, there's that. Skull and Bones got delayed again. Is this game ever coming out? I mean, seriously. Delayed once more tomorrow.
Actually,
I mean, it's a good delay because
I'm weirdly
You're optimistic.
Okay.
Why are
I'm
you
so
optimistic
tired
for
of
this?
Ubisoft's games, man. I am. I'm like, I'm sick of Assassin's Creed. I'm sick of open world. I'm sick of all this stuff. I'm just hoping that Skull and Bones brings something a little bit different. So, maybe it won't. Maybe it'll just be more of the same Ubisoft boring stuff. But the delay at least suggests that they care about getting it to a certain level of quality, right? So
yeah, they were launching it the day before God of War Ragnarok comes out, and it's $70, and it's just kind of like, I don't know, man, maybe delay it a little bit. I thought maybe you could have delayed it a couple weeks. They're like, no, we're gonna delay it to March, and it's not like there isn't a whole bunch of other games coming out. Like 2023 is every game, like just this newly announced game from EA and Koei Tecmo, Wild Hearts, which is wild because Koei Tecmo is a publisher. And EA's publishing this game. It's an EA partner game, and it's basically like a Monster Hunter game set in like feudal Japan. It looks cool. 3-player co-op. Amazing. It's like that's coming in February. It's like everything's coming in 2023. So you mentioned. I'm
kind of sad it's 3-player though.
Yeah, like, I wish more games would do 4.
What if you got 4 is the standard, and like my. If they're making a Monster Hunter allegory, right? Monster Hunter is 4-player co-op every time, so it's kind of like all the people who have Monster Hunter teams of 4 players, they're gonna have to kick someone out of their group.
Yeah,
to make this work. So like, I play Monster Hunter in a team of 4, and we're gonna have to kick someone out of our group and like do every boss twice or something. Oh well, but it does look really good. Like I'm intrigued by that game, and Koei Tecmo is pretty awesome dev. So
yeah. What else? There's a whole bunch of stuff here. I'm kind of just looking at it. Oh, you know what? Let's talk about Stadia, shall we? Because it also I think it also ties into the Xbox Activision deal. So. I know the Xbox Activision deal in the title, which was really new from it. Yeah, okay. But I do think it ties into the Google Stadia thing just a little bit. But today it was announced that Microsoft files its case for Activision acquisition with the EU competition regulator. In a filing on Friday, the European Competition Watchdog confirmed that it has set a provisional deadline of November 8th to clear the $68.7 billion deal or choose to enter a second, more detailed investigation phase. And over the coming weeks, the European Commission will analyze the deal during what's called a Phase 1 review. The goal is to decide whether the merger would significantly reduce competition in the market For example, by creating dominant companies that are likely to raise prices for consumers, almost like what PlayStation's doing right now in every aspect. But who am I to say? The people are still really concerned about a hypothetical future price raise for Game Pass 5 years from now, completely overlooking the fact that the market leader's raising prices across the board and blaming macroeconomics and inflation and a whole bunch of other stuff for it.
Macroeconomics.
Yeah. So, to be expected. I also expect this to go to phase 2. I don't think the EU is going to clear it by November 8th. So I expect it to go to phase 2. Like I've been saying, I'm more of the opinion that if and when the deal closes, it'll be in March of next year. But the reason this also brings up because Google Stadia, and you say, well, how are those two kind of combined in a way? And I'll explain. So, in news that everybody saw coming, almost literally everybody, we talked about it on the podcast. That's when it was announced. Stadia shutting down completely. Like, not just, it's like just gonna be gone. Just gonna be completely gone. Like, literally everybody and their mother called this once they announced their business plan of charging you $10 to get access 4K streams and then buying these games at full price of a cloud version of old-ass games that people already played on the PlayStation and the Xbox. Like, who was going to switch platforms to play Stadia? You had to buy the hardware at the point in time because they didn't really have the browser stuff available or what have you. They never really got the integration with YouTube working right. They really didn't get any worthwhile exclusives. They shut down their first-party studios, which is why Jade Raymond went and built Haven, which was acquired by Sony. At that time, they sort of blamed the Xbox because it was like, oh, you bought Bethesda? Oh, shit, we got to invest $7 billion in gaming? Like, screw this, shut it all down. And then, it's like, this thing was kind of destined to fall and to fail from the beginning. I mean, the man in charge was Phil Harrison. For whatever reason, this dude is an executive that can completely fails upwards, right? In charge of the disaster of the PS3 launch, leaves there, joins Xbox, almost destroys Xbox from the inside. I remember Jeff Grubb's tweet, like, good job, Agent 47, right? was part of that horrible Xbox One launch that almost destroyed Xbox. And you're like, okay, well, this dude is basically 0 for 2. Why would anybody hire him? And then Stadia, they hired him to do this stuff. And the thing didn't even make it 3 years. Dead platform. And it's just like, how does this guy keep on failing upwards? I don't know if failing upwards is appropriate because, I don't know, from PlayStation to Xbox to Stadia is failing upwards, but it's
failing sideways.
I don't know. Like, how does this guy completely get any sort of executive position? Like, unless you're looking for your company to fail, you shouldn't be hiring Phil Harrison at all. Like, seriously, unless like you're like looking to get the insurance money because you're about to enter bankruptcy and you want to like torch your buildings or something, don't hire Phil Harrison. I mean, look at his track record. So yes, Stadia's shutting down. Sucks for all the devs that were working to make that platform better because it sounds like they didn't even tell anybody. It sounds like that was a leadership team decision. They didn't give prior notice to the employees. They didn't give notice to developers. It was just, hey guys, guess what? We're out of here. See you later. And the one good thing is that they're offering refunds. So if you bought hardware or if you bought games or if you bought DLC, they will be refunding you all your money. So essentially, Google Stadia ended up being a 3-year rental service because you got to play the games at least, and they just took it back. They just refunded you your money.
Well, that. I mean, at least God, they refunded people.
No, that's good. That's good. That's great because they needed to. But then again, it makes me think, man, there must have been not that much to refund. I couldn't imagine if like they had made $5 billion or something and they had to refund $5 billion. So part of me is like, oh, they could probably refund it because there probably wasn't that much, So there is that. Now
the refunds amounted to about $300.
I don't know how many people. I saw like Destiny 2 was like the most played game on Stadia, and it was like the average user, of like Destiny 2 players on PlayStation were like 420,000 users a day or something. Maybe it was like concurrent. It was like 400,000, and then Xbox was like 380,000, and then like Steam it was like 300,000. And then, like, Epic Games, it was, like, 15,000. And then Stadia, 6,000. Like, even the most like, nobody was really playing Stadia. And everybody saw this coming from a mile away. It had a horrible business strategy. No exclusives to get people to actually want to, But because Google sort of blamed Microsoft a year ago or 2 years ago, whatever it was, as a reason for them shutting down their first party because Microsoft acquired Bethesda, all the PlayStation clowns on Twitter literally were tweeting at the CMA, being like, "See, CMA, this is why you can't let Xbox get the deal to go through. Look at Google. They were bullied by Microsoft. This is horrible. Please stop them, CMA." You had fucking clowns tweeting at Joe Biden, the president of the United States. "Please, Joe Biden, stop this deal. It's so anti-competitive. Can't let Microsoft do this." Fucking pathetic losers, right? Like, Jesus Christ, you guys are fucking clowns. Holy shit. Like, oh my God. Get a life. Like, really, right? Like, Google, one of the richest companies in the world, like your little meme that you posted last night, like of the dude shooting the other dude, right? And it's just like Google killing Stadia, and then saying, "Why would Microsoft do this?" Right? Like, why would Microsoft kill Stadia? Right? Like, Jesus, like, it's like, what? Do you not have any faith in Sony to properly litigate their own court case or talk to these people? Like, Jesus, it's like they're doing their own thing on Twitter, being like, "Stop the count. This is unfair. CMA, FBI, FTC, do something." Like, Jesus Christ, I don't get it. So there's all that thing, but I do think there's potentially a kernel. I'm not going to say truth, but look. Sony's doing whatever they can to block this deal. I think it's pretty apparent. We all know that. Jim Crying Ryan's out there doing whatever he can, making up all these different reasons about why the deal's bad for gamers, PlayStation gamers in reality, and the industry in the future, right? So he's literally going out there and telling everybody, you can't make this deal. So Google Stadia shutting down could work into his favor, because they could make the argument that this is why you can't let Microsoft do this, that they have such an unassailable position in cloud streaming and subscriptions that even a company like Google couldn't break in, and that's bad for competition and bad for the industry. Even though I don't really think that argument really holds much water, considering it's fucking Google of all companies, right? They just didn't want to invest the money that would be needed to actually compete. Like, you can still make that argument to the regulators, and it would be up to the regulators to decide if that was like something that they'd be worried about. So I do think Sony would present that as an argument to these people. And if Google really was petty enough, and we know Google and Microsoft don't get along, right, Jez? They are kind of hostile.
What are you talking about? Kumbaya, man.
Yeah,
is that not a thing anymore?
They're kind of hostile with each other. So, like, I guess if Google really, if they were asked, I guess it's possible Google could be like, "Yeah, we just couldn't do it. We saw Xbox buy Bethesda and Activision, and we were just like, there's nothing here for us. We can't compete with Azure. We can't compete with Game Pass. They're just blocked." I mean, they could make those arguments. They could. Whether or not they ring, true to regulators is a different story. So,
the thing about Google, right, especially in the EU with regards to Google, they are getting fined left, right, and center for antitrust violations of their own. So I don't think regulators are going to be particularly sympathetic to Google, who have been proven to have been abusing their search monopoly to, elevate their own products over their competitors. So it's, I don't think regulators are going to be like, oh, poor Google, Microsoft's money came in and killed Google. I don't think regulators are going to give a shit, really, in reality. But do I think Sony could weaponize it? Maybe. Because one of the things regulators, especially in America right now, are wary of is this idea of big tech companies coming in, throwing their money around and dominating new paradigms, right? So, like, one of the things America is looking at right now is whether Facebook should be allowed to buy VR companies, because Facebook wants to build the metaverse, whatever that is. Like, nobody knows what the metaverse is except for Mark Zuckerberg, in his vaguest nightmares. But the US tech regulators are kind of like, yeah, we don't want Facebook to buy this VR fitness app company, even though the deal amounts to like tens of millions of dollars. It's nowhere near the $70 billion that the Activision Blizzard deal is. They don't want Facebook to have control of the VR market, because it's there's a lot of privacy implications with VR. You can track what people are literally looking at, which I suppose is spooking regulators a lot. Because Facebook's generally a creepy company and Mark Zuckerberg's a generally creepy dude. And Facebook is often cited in legal battles for causing a lot of harm to individuals. So it's a different proposition ultimately. I think, like, even though they're sort of scrutinizing Facebook a lot, I think Microsoft can potentially get away with a little bit more than Facebook can, just because of the fact that Microsoft isn't demonstrably as evil as Facebook, and not as demonstrably as evil as Google either, for that matter. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see whether Google Stadia dying is cited in arguments against this deal, because Sony has come out swinging. Sony does not want this deal to happen, or at the very least, Sony wants some kind of concession. They want it in legalese that Microsoft will always have to offer Call of Duty to PlayStation forever in perpetuity. I think PlayStation would be happy with that if that was the concession. I think Facebook would PlayStation would accept that. But it's going to get messy. I don't think there's a legal basis to block Microsoft completely from getting Activision Blizzard King. But I think, like, at the very least, you're gonna see a lot of companies trying to get concessions, and they probably will use Stadia dying as an example why Microsoft shouldn't be allowed to dominate the industry. But I ain't a lawyer. Are you a lawyer, Rand? You a lawyer?
No, I'm not. I'm
not
definitely
a lawyer?
not a lawyer.
Not a lawyer? Rand, not a lawyer?
Well, Google actually was asked about how they felt about this in the Brazilian commission, remember? Because we had their answers from Amazon, Google, Meta, Riot Games. And according to this guy, what Google said was they highlighted all their different initiatives, mini games, VR, Play Pass, developing exclusive games for Stadia until 2021. They said that alternatives to Call of Duty could be Battlefield, Counter-Strike, or Rainbow Six, and alternatives to World of Warcraft would be Lost Ark, ESO Online, or Guild Wars 2, and alternatives to Candy Crush would be Puzzle Quest or Bejeweled. They also highlight other important franchises from ABK such as Overwatch, Diablo, or Hearthstone, including possible alternatives, at least according to Google. Fallout is an alternative to Diablo. And they understand that there will be a significant number of game developed publishers on the market after the acquisition of Activision Blizzard by Microsoft. So I don't know. Like, so I guess you would imagine if Google had any sort of problems with this whole thing, it would have been addressed during the, when the Brazilian Commission asked them about their take on these things, and they really didn't, because they sort of just like, well, COD has competitors, and ABK has competitors for their games, and there's going to be other publishers and other developers, so it definitely seemed like they weren't too concerned. Now, that was then. I don't know what it would be now. Like, would that change now with them shutting down Stadia? I don't know, but we have heard some of that stuff, so
It's definitely interesting. I have enjoyed the what do they call it? Schadenfreude. when you sort of like you enjoy the misfortune of others. Because Rand, I'm a vindictive guy.
Counter-Strike.
I'm a vindictive guy.
Counter-Strike. I meant Counter-Strike.
Counter-Strike.
You didn't even. Yeah, I guess I said Counter-Strike.
Counter-Strike. Well, I'm a vindictive guy, Rand. Yes. And back in 2015, I want to say, back in 2015, Google blocked YouTube on Windows Phone. Rand. They blocked YouTube on Windows Phone. And since then, I've had it in for Google, mate. I tell you, I won't forgive them. I won't forgive them for blocking YouTube on Windows Phone, because that pretty much killed the platform. And, it's kind of comes back to that sort of like anti-competitive behavior that Google seems to, be completely comfortable with. So I have very little sympathy for Stadia. Who I do have sympathy for, though, is all the developers. There was a bunch of developers who were coming out on Twitter saying things like, oh, we've got a game launching in November, and Google didn't even let us know they were shutting Stadia down. Like, are those developers going to be compensated? Do we even know about that? Did Google even let them know that they're going to be compensated or not? I have no idea. One thing I do know for sure, though, Rand, is that game developers aren't going to trust Google again. Google had one chance to break into the core gaming console market, and they've blown it. The game developers will not trust them again, because Google wanted them to port their games to Linux, which is not a trivial amount of development. Stadia doesn't have an emulation layer like the Steam Deck. Like, Steam Deck has Proton, which is like an emulation layer which can it can convert a Windows game to run on Linux, which is what the Steam Deck uses, and Valve backs that, and it's pretty good. But Stadia doesn't have any such layer. So Stadia was basically saying to devs, yeah, if you want to be on Stadia, you've got to port your game to Linux natively, which is a tall order, And from what I understand, Google was funding some of that. They were funding that work so that it could happen. But, developers basically upended their entire pipeline and, their roadmaps and all that kind of stuff based around launching on Stadia and working with Google. And then Google just announced in a blog post that all their work was pointless and for nothing. That's awful, man. I think that's really awful, and I don't think Google's ever going to be able to break into the gaming market now, but for good reason.
I mean,
Google doesn't deserve it.
They have Androids. I mean, don't they make a bunch of money from the Google Play Store anyways, regardless?
Yeah, but they don't make any games.
Sure.
They
don't need to.
They take a cut on Android.
Yeah.
Apple
doesn't make any games, and Apple makes more money than most companies in gaming because they own the iOS store.
Yeah, but it's all terrible games.
I mean, yeah.
All the games on Android and all the games on iOS are bad. They're casinos masquerading as games. And a lot of developers, they don't go to university with the mindset of, I want to make a pay-to-win game for iOS. They don't go to university with that mindset. People aren't inspired by Candy Crush to make games. They're inspired by games as art. You know,
You don't think anybody's
God of
inspired
War.
by Candy Crush to make their own Candy Crush?
I don't think so.
Mm.
I don't think so. I mean, there's probably people out there who are like, oh wow, I can make a shitload of money. I can make a shitload of money making a Candy Crush clone. You know, and they're right. Candy Crush makes money hand over fist, but I think like artists and people with like a creative mindset, they don't look to artists.
You're talking about
they don't look to Candy Crush for their inspiration.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Do you think that? Do they look to Candy Crush for inspiration? I don't think they do.
I'm just saying, maybe not the artists, but I definitely think some people would look at Candy Crush and like, I can make something like that. You know? Just like I'm sure there's plenty of people that look at Windows Central and are like, I can make a website like Windows Central, or like look at the Xbox 2 podcast and are like, I can do a podcast. You know? Right?
Yeah. I mean, do it, baby. I mean, that's what I did. I looked at Windows Central and I was like, I could make a Windows Central better than that. So I made XboxMad.net, and instead of competing with me,
they bought you. They acquired you.
Yeah, I sold out. So like, yeah, I mean, that's just how it kind of works, right?
Yeah.
Man, Wolfenstein's such a great game.
Wolfenstein is. Can you imagine wanting it to go away? Oh my god.
Yeah, can you imagine? I can't imagine.
Metal Morbo in the Super Chat says, RIP Typhoon Studios. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Basically, they were acquired after they put out, God, what was that game? I played it in 2019. Something, I forget the name of it. No. And yeah, now they're basically gone forever. Hopefully,
was that the Stadia studio?
Yeah, hopefully some of the exclusive games like Guilt can find their way off of the platform and onto real platforms with real players, fellow Stadians.
Does Stadia have exclusives?
They do, but they're smaller titles. Yeah, they had some, but like nobody really cared. So, Major Glory says big or small Xbox present at the TGAs this year. I guess it depends if they do an XO. They'll always have a presence.
Journey.
They'll always have a
Journey
presence.
to the Savage Planet.
Yeah, Journey to the Savage Planet. It was a pretty decent game. Pretty decent game. It's a shame that they're basically just gone now. So, yeah, what else we got here? Oh, Stadia, the Saudi princes, or that group, the Savvy Group. They want to invest $38 billion into gaming, and they want to spend $13 billion on a publisher, Jez, because they really wanted to get in the game. How do you feel about this? Because I saw a really screwed up article today with a really screwed up paragraph. It was just like, hey, yeah, they may be like a horrible country with horrible whatevers, but at least they get gaming. And I was just like, the fuck? I was like, huh? What? But yeah, so like the Saudis have made a whole bunch of investments. I think they invested in Nintendo. I think they own like 95% of the SNK. Now you got them coming with a whole bunch of money. So $13 billion. They want to buy a publisher. Who do you think they're angling for that type of money? And do you want the Saudis in gaming? I guess is the other question.
No. Why? We don't want a religious theocracy in gaming. Fuck no. You know, it's the same reason like we don't want Tencent in gaming. You know, the dictatorial sort of, you know, censorship kind of company. No, thank you very much. Don't want that shit in gaming, frankly speaking. But what publishers are worth 13 billion?
I mean, too expensive, but like everything else, the Segas, the Ubisofts, all the rest of the publishers, I think, are essentially under 13 billion. So, I mean, I guess anybody, it would just be who would be the strategic purchase. So,
according to Yahoo Finance, Embracer Group's market cap is $82 billion, which is shocking to me because they only make AA mediocre games, frankly speaking. Why is Embracer Group's market cap so damn high? I don't get it. But anyway, I don't know. What major publisher could you buy for 14 billion? I have no clue.
It looks like we dropped out for a second. because people were putting F's in chat, and then they started putting W's in chat. So looks like we dropped out for a split second or something. I don't know. My internet's doing fine right now. Maybe it was OBS, but I'm looking at OBS and it doesn't seem to have any problems. So maybe it was just a little hookup. Maybe the Saudis don't want us talking about this on the podcast.
Yeah, maybe. Saudi Arabia is a scary, scary regime. They murder journalists, and yeah, I'm not down with that shit. So personally, I don't want them anywhere near gaming. But money's money at the end of the day, and when there's that much money involved, I guess morality goes out the window. But anyway, I don't know what kind of market cap we're talking about with regards to how much was it? 13 billion?
Yes.
Something like that.
Yes.
Someone in chat says Embracer is like 7 billion. Hargeet Chani says. Yeah, maybe I'm looking at the wrong figures here. I've got another figure here that says 1.7 billion. So maybe maybe Embracer Group is within that sort of range. And honestly, Rand, one of the weird things about Embracer Group is I always think, why?
Why?
Why? Yeah, why?
Why?
Literally, what is the deal with Embracer Group?
Is it? When you say why, do you think it like that pre-skiff that you see on Twitter sometimes, where he's just like, why? You know what I'm talking about? You guys know what I'm talking about? Where he's just like, why? Is that what you're feeling right now with Embracer? You're just like, why? I'm just amusing myself, and everybody thinks I'm weird. But when you said that's something I thought of.
I perpetually think you're weird, so that's okay.
Yeah, I get that.
But yeah, one of the things we've always wondered ultimately is why. What's the deal with Embracer Group? Why are they embracing so many AA studios? What is their business strategy here? Because it feels like there isn't any. It feels like there isn't a business strategy. But maybe the business strategy all along was sell to the Saudi. Maybe that was the business strategy. Maybe the business strategy was like hoard as much random stuff as we can and then sell out. So maybe that's been the plan all along. Brett Bingham says Embracer Group's market cap is 7 billion.
Yeah, Fuzzy Belvedere in chat says there are already Saudi investments in Embracer, so they're already there.
Yeah, so maybe that's the whole deal. Maybe their plan is more like Tencent, and just to invest, bits and pieces here and there rather than buying companies outright. Maybe you invest like a little bit to, take a piece of the pie. Like Tencent owns 49% of Epic Games, I think, something like that. And then your boy, what's his name? Our old buddy Tim Sweeney owns the rest of it. So maybe that's the play. Maybe they own like a little bit here and there. Maybe they invest in EA and stuff like that. I don't know. But I honestly don't know what studio they could buy outright for 13 billion. Like, what's Capcom's market cap? I don't know.
Capcom's not that high. Like I said, outside of like EA and Take-Two, they could probably get any other publisher.
Yeah.
Well, and Sony and Nintendo. And Tencent, I guess.
So Capcom's market cap is $7 billion, according to Google. So it's it's interesting. I don't know. Maybe they buy two publishers. I mean, they could get Embracer Group and Capcom, and that would pretty much bring them to about $14 billion. Man, that kind of depresses me.
Kind of slimy. Actually. Yeah, I don't know. spending a lot of money, and people are gonna take their money, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, and then the games are going to get censored.
Yeah, maybe. Face in the super chat says Microsoft Xbox buying spree factored in the Stadia studio shutdown. Thoughts on some people saying this after Microsoft bought Bethesda? Stadia shut down their first party studios. We just got done talking about that, Face. So you gotta do is just scroll a little bit back. We talked about it. Jez said that I don't. What your thoughts was like? That's really not going to factor in very much with regulators, even though we expect Sony to make that argument that this is why you can't do it. But then at the end of the day, it's Google. Like, Google didn't want to invest in Stadia in the first place. At the first sign of trouble, they just back out and leave. So they were never fully committed. Not like Xbox is fully committed, or not like PlayStation's fully committed, or not like Nintendo's fully committed. They never made that. So, I mean, they can blame Xbox all they want, like, for taking away Bethesda, but that's not to say there weren't a ton of other publishers and developers that they could have worked with or purchased. They just didn't want to, because they saw the type of money it would take and was like, we're not willing to invest in something that probably is not. I mean, the Jason Schreier was reporting that to get games like Red Dead Redemption 2 and the Assassin's Creed games, they just to show up on their platform, they had to pay tens of millions of dollars to these developers, because nobody wanted to put their games on Stadia because there wasn't an audience. And it wasn't like Google was making any, like, they weren't doing anything to make an audience. So, Google can say all they want, blaming, like, well, they bought Bethesda, so that's the reason why. But the real reason why is they just don't want to spend any money. That's the real reason. So, I mean, Sony can make those arguments. Google can make those arguments to the regulators. I mean, I don't think it's going to matter, but we'll see.
Yeah.
We got one from Wolf of Iowa. It says, I think it's becoming clear that Infinite will be the multiplayer platform for a long time, while future campaigns are split off and Tatanka could be alone. I mean, maybe. Like I said, I mean, I don't know. Well, I don't even know when we'll find out about Tatanka. I mean, if it's true, it's been delayed. I mean, even if it's coming out next year, I don't think they'd reveal it, for a bit. So we'll see. Poochie, who's been a member for 10 months, says, hey, buds. After playing Deathloop, my excitement for Redfall is through the roof. Cannot wait. Also, I smoked a good amount of weed today. Good day. Well, yeah, I guess that would be a good day if you smoked a lot of ganja. But yeah, like, after playing Deathloop, I'm like, man, and then seeing a lot of the new videos of Redfall, like, I was like, yeah, I think Redfall could be pretty damn good. So what else we got here? Scorn moved their release date forward from October 21st to October 14th. Not many times you see games move their release dates forward. Maybe they're trying to avoid the early launch of Call of Duty's campaign, or the launch of Gotham Knights, I think, is on the 21st. Maybe they at least want a week to themselves, because I think Plague's Tale's the 17th, so even trying to get out before that. So good for them. Modern Warfare 2 had their biggest beta ever. Like, most players, basically is the biggest beta ever, even though, like, I saw on people's social media saying that it was like the worst thing since sliced bread and everybody hated it. But apparently it was the biggest one of all time. Disney wants to release a Star Wars game every 6 months, Jez. How do you feel about... Is that saturating the market? Can they actually be able to do that by releasing basically 2 Star Wars games a year? We don't really know about that many of them. So could there be a bunch of Star Wars games in development that we don't know anything about?
Oh, man. Sometimes I wonder, like, what Disney's deal is. Like, I love Star Wars. It's one of my favorite franchises. But I'm fed up of it. I haven't even bothered watching Andor because I'm still fatigued from the Book of Boba Fett. Because I'm just kind of like, oh, is it just more sort of cashing in? Like, chat, let me know. Is Andor actually any good? I've seen, like, it seems to be popular on streaming stats. I got a press release saying that Andor's doing really well on streams and stuff, but I haven't seen that much hype about it. And after the Book of Boba Fett, I was just kind of like, man, I just kind of feel like having a break from Star Wars now. That being said, Star Wars can sort of potentially cross multiple genres, you know? Like, you could have a shooter, you could have, like, your action game, slashing things up. Like, hell, you could even do, like, RTS Star Wars game. When's the last Star Wars RTS game that existed? You know? Like, what if there was a 4X strategy game?
You don't need those type
set
of
in
games.
space?
Nobody cares about those games. You don't need them.
I don't care what you say, Rand. 4X strategy is awesome, man. You know, oh, man. I'm not even gonna humor your Philistine attitude towards the superior genres of gaming. But this is my point. Is there's a lot you could do with Star Wars, right? There's infinite possibilities with regards to Star Wars, and I don't know. I think like the likelihood of them saturating the market with games is lower than saturating the market with TV shows. Because the TV shows like, the same kind of experience every time. But games can cross over to different genres, different styles. You got Lego Star Wars for kids, and then you could do an RTS, you could do a tactics game, you could do an isometric game, you could do action RPGs, you could do just general action adventure games. We've got I think they've we're getting a new Jedi Fallen Order game. What's it called now? I can't even remember. But there's just loads of stuff you could do with Star Wars that sort of wouldn't get stale, is what my point is. But I don't know, maybe you feel differently. How do you feel about it? How do you feel about Star Wars? Are you a big Star Wars guy? I don't even know.
No, I like Star Wars good enough, and I'm really excited for Jedi Survivor. The first game was amazing, so I'm down for the second. I'm even looking forward to the Massives Star Wars game. I don't know what it is, but I enjoyed The Division, so I would imagine they'll make a third-person Star Wars shooter of some kind. Quantic Dream Star Wars game, like I really enjoyed Detroit Become Human, so if it's something along those lines, yeah, I'd be down. I guess there's a chance if you're constantly putting out Star Wars games, there's a chance like you get burned out on it, but there's enough Star Wars lore and different eras that you could do where you're not running over the same sort of characters or the same storylines. You could have one in the Old Republic. Obviously, they're remaking the Old Republic, but you can have one in the far past. You can have one in the present, or like during like episodes, 4, 5, and 6, or one set during episodes 1, 2, and 3, and then one in the far future. There's a lot of different ways you could go. I guess it depends. And I'm sure some of these games will probably be mobile, and I wouldn't even care. So, but it definitely seems like Disney's willing to license this shit out to anybody, just like almost it seems like Marvel is too. Which begs the question: hey, Xbox, are you interested in a Star Wars game? You could probably get one if you wanted to, just like with the Marvel game. Like, should you go knocking to get a Star Wars exclusive? Get that on Game Pass would be big. We've been saying that, even like a Marvel game or a DC game. That type of stuff, like, kind of goes beyond gaming and it really has broad demographics. It can introduce a lot of people to Xbox and Game Pass. So there's that to consider. What else we got? Oh, we got an Age of Empires stream coming soon, Jez. You hear about this? And Jez is gone and disappeared.
No, I'm here. I was muted. What did you say? Age of Empires stream?
Yeah, an Age of Empires stream. Did you hear about this?
Actually, I did not hear about this. Do you have details?
Geez, I'm trying to get the details because I'm such a professional podcaster. I thought like I thought it would like pop up like right away, but it didn't. Let me see if I can find it. Here we go. So, Age of Empires 4 Anniversary Edition. So they're celebrating 25 years of Age of Empires anniversary broadcast and Age of Empires 4 Anniversary Edition. And on October 25th, so a little bit less than a month, we'll be celebrating 25 years of Age of Empires in a big way. Join us live from a special location as we share our anniversary broadcast featuring announcements, interviews with the team, and some surprises. And of course, we want to maintain an air of mystery. Version? That's what I was thinking. So Is this where we could see an announcement for the console version of Age of Empires 4? Maybe.
Well,
with it releasing early next year, maybe. You know.
I originally heard, and I didn't put this out there because I didn't have it that great. It was just sort of a rumor, but I had heard originally that they were gunning for Q4 2022 with the console version of Age of Empires. I never put it out there because everything's so much in flux right now. But if they're at least going to announce it now, that kind of scans for me. And I do know it's coming. The game was developed with console in mind. That's why the menus have that sort of expansion sort of feature where you can long press and then you can get other menus and stuff. That's designed with a controller in mind. So yeah, I've long said that there is a console version of Age of Empires on the way, and I guess this would be the ideal place to announce it. But I don't have any evidence to suggest this is where they're going to announce it because, indeed, I didn't even know they were doing a stream. But I would hope so. I would hope so. I've got some other information about Age of Empires, which I'll probably share in not the near future, but someday. But they are serious about Age of Empires as a franchise, and they've got other projects they've been exploring it within the universe, within the brand and stuff. So yeah, maybe they'll announce Maybe they'll announce a new Age of Empires game at this show. Maybe.
Soil Kleenex says, Rand and Jez, did you see the rumors of Wolverine coming to Xbox because of the Xbox tweet? I mean, I have seen people bring this up, but there's nothing to that. Like, even Josh Stein said they just made it because they announced the Deadpool with Wolverine, and then Xbox replied to it like, "See you soon, bub." And for whatever reason, people thought that meant the Wolverine game or something was coming to Xbox. Like, oh my god!
Yeah, it's not.
And in reality, it's just them trying to get social engagement. And Stein even admitted as such that it was just a social engagement post. Not everything is like hinting at stuff, so no.
Yeah, this one's nothing. There's no special
big
Wolverine game
load of nothing. Supernova says, I hope a Saudi invests in games and strengthens our region and opens up space for Microsoft and other companies. The world of games is different from politics. Every country has its pros and cons. And Jacqueline Brandt says, so People Can Fly's game has been dropped by Take-Two and have 4 games in development. Should Xbox take a look? I think that studio is underrated. Yeah, what do you think about this, Jez? People Can Fly did Outriders for Square Enix. They also have some other games in development, and it looks like Take-Two, they had a game in development with Take-Two, which Take-Two dropped. So should Xbox kind of look into it to maybe publish that game? High on Life and The Quarry were supposed to be Stadia exclusives, and 2K snatched up the Quarry, while High on Life, I think Xbox signed to a Game Pass deal. What do you think? Should Xbox take a look at that game in any way?
Which game?
People Can Fly. One of People Can Fly's games by Take-Two. Take-Two dropped the game. So should Xbox take a look?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, don't know what the game is, so maybe the game's just trash. That's why Take-Two didn't want it. But at the same time, maybe Take-Two's just cutting costs and reducing risk, maybe. And maybe Xbox is the company that needs exclusives right now. And People Can Fly, I think they're a very underrated dev. I think Outriders was a very decent game, kind of hindered by Square Enix, frankly. Square Enix had all these requirements, you need a Square Enix account. Square Enix didn't fund very good servers for it, and the game really blew up on day one. And Outriders. It blew up on day one, but Square Enix cheaped out on the login servers and stuff, or the allocation, and there was just loads of issues on day one, and it's just clear that a lot of it was Square Enix's fault. So I kind of, I feel like that game would have done better if it had been with another publisher that isn't so cheap. Square Enix is like the king of cheap. So, people can fly make good games. They made Bulletstorm, which is also a very underrated game in my opinion. But yeah, I suppose it ultimately depends on the quality of the game. Is it actually any good? We don't know what it is. What game is it? What's it? It's got a code name, right? I can't remember what the code name is.
I don't remember.
But yeah,
I don't know. Yeah.
Maybe Tom Henderson can leak it.
Hmm.
He likes leaking stuff. That Tommy lad.
He sure does. He sure does. Xbox Games with Gold, Jez. Now, the reason I'm going to bring this up is because, and we never talk about Games with Gold on here, right? At all. Because, why? Because it's been horrible for a while. But this was the first month that wouldn't have any 360 games, right? So a lot of people thought, hey, this is the people were coming up with scenarios of what would happen. Like, one, maybe we get an extra Xbox One title, so we get 3 games instead of 2. Maybe Xbox would increase the quality of the titles that they hand out, right? So people had these they were letting their dreams run wild with them, right? Like, oh man, what are we going to get? And, well, you didn't get anything. You didn't get an extra game, and the quality of the games didn't improve. So what you're getting is Windbound and Bomber Crew Deluxe Edition. So they removed the 360 games. Don't replace them with anything. So you're only getting 2 for the same price you've been paying for years. And they didn't increase quality. They didn't give you anything extra. And I don't know, man. Like, I just look at this. It's like, Games with Gold is a complete joke and a farce at this point. Just get rid of it. Just get rid of it. If you're not going to do it right, then don't do it at all. So either give people 3 games or increase the quality or just completely remove it. Hell, just get remove of Gold in general and just make multiplayer free. Like, seriously, like, I look at this and it's just, jeez. Like, this is a joke. I don't know. How do you feel about this? I mean, speechless. He's speechless, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm speechless. I'm literally speechless. You know why? Because I lost my trail of thought. What exactly are we talking about? Right?
Live Games with Gold. The first month without the 360 stuff, and it's dookie.
I think they're phasing out Games with Gold. I think this is sort of like the first real evidence that Games with Gold phasing out. They said they made the. I don't want to call it an excuse, but they said something like, we've come to the end of the amount of 360 games we can offer. They could offer repeat games, if they wanted to. They could offer their own 360 games again if they wanted to, for people who didn't get it the first time round. I think Games with Gold is just terrible, and they should just phase it out and just, whatever budget they're putting towards Games with Gold, slap that budget on Game Pass, because that's the headline acts right now. Increasingly, around Games with Gold feels like this, not Games with Gold, but Xbox Live Gold in general. Xbox Live Gold feels like this relic of an ancient past, which makes no sense in current year. If you're Microsoft and you're unifying Windows and Xbox, why are you charging your Xbox players for Xbox Live Gold? For multiplayer, sorry, because, you don't charge them on PC, and, you could argue that the subsidization for the hardware comes from Xbox Game Pass, right? I mean, the plan obviously is to eventually get rid of Xbox, Xbox Live Gold. But when is that going to happen? I have no idea. I mean, we've said repeatedly on the show that both me and you, we agree that the plan is eventually to get rid of Xbox Live Gold. It's just sort of like, when is that going to happen,
Yeah, when it reaches a certain number of Game Pass reaches a certain number of users.
Yeah, it's gonna happen when Game Pass reaches a certain number of users. But part of me just thinks like they should just rip the Band-Aid off and accept the sunk cost and just go for it. Just go for it. Because Games with Gold is just increasingly like this vestigial limb that makes no sense. I know Games with Gold has its audience. Like, I always get DMs about Games with Gold. A lot of people still very invested in the benefits of it, And I think that's completely fair and fine. But it's clear that this is not... Games with Gold and Xbox Live Gold in general does not have a future. It just doesn't have a future, So, yeah, I would personally just rather see Games with Gold die and Xbox Live Gold also die, Move everyone over to Xbox Game Pass. Bite that bullet, But I haven't got access to Microsoft's financials. I don't know how much of a hit that will be. I don't know if it would make Xbox as a platform completely unviable. I have no idea, but the faster they get rid of that, the better, because it will give them very, very, very strong differentiation against PlayStation. If PlayStation is the only platform we have to pay for multiplayer, or Nintendo Switch as well, you have to pay for multiplayer on Nintendo Switch as well. That is very compelling. It's a very compelling narrative. It's a very compelling marketing thing you can put forward. You don't have to pay for multiplayer on Xbox Live. You could also get like the next generation of gamers that way as well. But I don't know if they even can do it. Maybe there's a financial argument to be made that it's just not viable right now. We'll just have to wait and see.
Indeed.
But Games with Gold is just a joke. Yeah. I can't remember the last time I even bothered looking at it.
Yeah, the only reason I brought it up was because there was the first month without 360 games. So, Highlander's been a member for 2 months. Says, once the ABK deal is finalized, do you see Matt Booty getting help managing all the studios? Maybe Sarah Bond? I mean, that's a lot to manage. Well, Matt Booty doesn't manage the Bethesda studios, and he won't be managing the ABK studios. Matt Booty manages Xbox Game Studios, and whoever's in charge of Bethesda is in charge of the Bethesda studios, and whoever would be in charge of Activision would be in charge of those studios. So Matt only has to worry about Xbox Game Studios. So, because yes, that would be very, very difficult to manage all that. So it's a good thing he's not managing all that. And Xbox looking to acquire more in Japan. I mean, this was sent to me constantly, so I made a video yesterday about it. Jeff Grubb talked a little bit about it on the Giant Bombcast, that Xbox is essentially still looking to acquire more after that ABK deal, and Imran Khan said that Microsoft is out there talking to Japanese publishers and developers, which isn't really anything new. Bloomberg said this 2 years ago, that Xbox was talking to developers big and small over in Japan. And, I mean, Phil's said it repeatedly that they're not going to press pause on acquisitions because it's so competitive, with Sony acquiring studios and Tencent making those investments. And now you got Saudis coming in here trying to buy stuff. So, yeah, I mean, once the deal goes through, I think Xbox will... I mean, I think they have targets in mind. It's just a matter of, we need to get this one finished, and then we'll go and work on these next ones. And it definitely does seem that Japan is going to be maybe a focus this time, right? Because you wanted mobile, and you got mobile with the Activision Blizzard, right? You even got your PC developer in Blizzard, and you get Call of Duty. It was like probably the perfect buy for what Xbox wanted to do, like Activision Blizzard. So now it's like, okay, well, you got Bethesda, you got the regular studios, you got Activision Blizzard. Like, what is your next target? Like, what is your next strategic investment? And the way they talk about it, it might be Japan, to try to get more Japanese developers on board. You know, they're working with Kojima, so they want to, see, like, oh, well, you want to work with us? We're working with Kojima. You can work with us, sign a deal. You can make the games that you want, and, we'll bring them to, global audience of millions through Xbox and PC and cloud, and maybe they go after Sega, because Sega has PC stuff. Sega has some Japanese franchises. Maybe they take a run at Capcom again. Maybe they take a look at Bandai Namco. Maybe it's smaller developers. I don't know. Either way, I mean, they're out there. But they definitely have plans. It's just, the only matter is, will those plans come to fruition? Because acquisitions are a tricky thing. You could be almost ready to sign that dotted line, and then something changes and it's over. And so yeah, I don't know how much there really is more to say about that, right? Though, Jez.
Yeah, I would just let's get Activision Blizzard out of the way first, right?
Let's get that one out of the way first. So, I think now it's time for, the end of the podcast. So thank you guys for being here. Hit the like button if you're about to bounce. But we have some Patreon questions that we need to get to. And if you want to write in and get your question read, 100%, because sometimes, we do the Q&A at the end of the show, but sometimes it gets too late. But these we'll always read off. So if you guys want to join Patreon, links in the description. I'm sure Jez will put it in chat. A lot of cool perks and things. I'll read off this one. So we got Governor Grimm in the Patreon question says, for the record, I think the ABK deal goes through with some caveats. For my question, what specific caveats do you think would be in the agreement? Larger question, if the deal got squashed by regulator bodies, what do you think Microsoft spends that money on? Do you think Microsoft gets petty with Sony? If yes, how? Oh, yeah, I believe Microsoft would get petty with Sony. We're seeing that right now, 100%. I don't know how, but I would be here for it. Well, actually, I don't want this deal to get blocked, but anyways, I would be here for it. I think the caveats they would make would probably be Call of Duty needs to be on PlayStation for X number of years, and you can't raise Game Pass price for X number of years. I think if there would be any caveats, it'd be one of those two, maybe both. If the deal gets squashed, what do they spend their money on instead? See, there's a part of me that thinks if the deal got squashed, they would be hesitant to spend money on something like that again. But then again, Activision Blizzard is...
If this deal gets squashed, they have to pay Activision $3 billion.
Yes. So there's a part of me that thinks...
Those that don't...
Go ahead.
Sorry, go on.
Well, I was just saying, there's a part of me that thinks if it got squashed, they would be hesitant to go buy another thing, because then if you go buy another publisher, is that not also going to get squashed? I know Activision Blizzard was the biggest one, but there could be that, worry that, well, if we go and we try to get Sega, regulators might be like, So I'm not sure that they would actually spend that money on anything, really. I don't know. Unless you have something else different, Jez.
I mean, if the deal got squashed, and let's face it, there's a decent chance that something could go wrong to stop this from happening. We've seen Nvidia, lose the ARM deal recently, so there's precedent for a deal of this magnitude getting squashed. So I don't think it's a 100% done deal. I'm still bullish that it's going to happen. But it's more like 90%. There's a decent enough. There's a non-trivial chance that this could get squashed. I think Microsoft they would not be happy about having to pay Activision Blizzard $3 billion for nothing. So I think in that scenario, maybe Microsoft does start going for the marketing deals more. Maybe they do pull the Call of Duty marketing deal. Because let's face it, Microsoft can afford to outbid Sony on things like this. They could outbid Sony on the Call of Duty marketing deal. They could outbid Sony on all these kind of exclusivity deals. I think Microsoft just goes in that direction. If Sony somehow manages to convince regulators that this deal can't go through, maybe Microsoft just takes their gloves off and just be like, okay, you're not going to get timed exclusivity on anything anymore. We're just going to outbid you on everything. We're going to outbid you on all this stuff. We're going to do third-party exclusives, all that kind of stuff that you used to do, again, Street Fighter 5 exclusive. That's us now. We're the bad guys now. So I think that would get really petty with it, But it's all speculative, Maybe the deal goes through and everything's fine, everyone's happy. PlayStation fans still get Call of Duty, which is what I think's going to happen, and and Sony could be retaliatory. If like Microsoft outbids them on Call of Duty, maybe we start seeing Sony being like, well, less Destiny content for Xbox fans. So it could get nasty, man. It could get really nasty. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, Achievement. He says in the Patreon question, with PS5 confirmed to be in a smaller chipset now, 7 nanometers to 6 nanometers, will we see the same from Xbox next year? I know Xbox likes to do major refreshes as opposed to just chip designs. Jez, you have any? I don't know anything about tech stuff, so like I would say maybe, but like, do you know anything more about this?
I have no information on what Microsoft's going to do with its mid-gen refreshes right now. But I also think like Sony's the one who kind of wants to improve their margins on the hardware. So I don't know if Microsoft will respond in a similar way.
Okay. Ralph Wiggum, he says, hey guys, my question is more for Rand. My fiance is a bookworm, her words, not mine. Asked, out of all the Wheel of Time books, which one is my favorite? That's interesting. Which one is my favorite? I'll just give you, I really enjoyed Shadow Rising. Knife of Dreams is up there. Gathering Storm and Memory of Light are also up there. It's really tough for me to pick my favorite because like the series overall is my favorite of all time. And there's a lot of books that are around the similar quality level of other books. But I think like where Wheel of Time took a turn to be something completely unique in its own thing is the Shadow Rising. And then like Robert Jordan's last book, Knife of Dreams, kind of reignited and showed, I think, everybody just how good of a writer he was after like how bad some of the previous books were. And then like Brandon Sanderson killed it with Gathering Storm and Memory of Light. So those would be my answers. And Ralph also says, hey guys, gaming question. With Stadia out of the way, do you think Microsoft will try and get some people from Stadia's development team over to xCloud? I mean, we know Microsoft is very, very much prioritizing xCloud. So I could definitely see... Well, the problem is, isn't there a hiring freeze at Xbox right now? Or across Microsoft? Isn't there like a hiring freeze, Jez?
It's not like a total freeze. I think it's just like a reduction. Like, it's not like if you go on Xbox's careers page, there's like nothing there. They are still hiring people, but I think they, like a lot of companies right now, they're being a little bit more selective about it. So I think like, I think they'll still be hiring, but it's just kind of reduced right now. Maybe they're just not opening more positions and stuff. It's just the way the economy is. The economy's fucked, basically, is what I'm saying. Oh, man.
Yeah.
And what was the other part of the question?
I mean, just that they would hire more people from Stadia to over to xCloud, which I could see because xCloud's so important, but it's just with the hiring freeze, maybe not so much.
There's clearly an opportunity to hire some of the expertise from Stadia. But to be honest, maybe Google will just keep it in-house. Maybe they'll take those developers and just be like, improve the latency on YouTube, add more features to YouTube. Because increasingly, it feels like Google is trying to take on TikTok and Twitch with YouTube. Like one of the, I don't know if any of you guys have this, but in Germany, YouTube has a new layout. And I was saying to Rand earlier, oh shit, YouTube's got a new layout. It's all different and stuff. And I don't know if you're aware of this, Rand, but Twitter is gonna have like TikTok kind of features soon as well.
Oh god, like we need TikTok on Twitter, Jesus.
So like on Twitter, when there's a video, you'll be able to tap on the video, and then it sort of converts into sort of a Twitch layout, TikTok layout, sorry. And you can just sort of swipe through similar videos on Twitter. So I think like maybe some of those engineers could find a new home at Microsoft, but at the same time, there's a lot of work that needs to be done on YouTube to compete with Twitch, and YouTube to compete with TikTok. So I could see like those talented engineers moving within Google. Because let's be completely honest here, Stadia was a great product. You know, the business model was all wrong and the level investment was not where it needed to be. But Stadia was the benchmark for cloud gaming for a long time, you know. And for a lot of people, Stadia is still better than xCloud, you know. Microsoft internally considers NVIDIA GeForce Now to be the standard bearer. But, you know, for a lot of people, Stadia was still, you know, offering a better experience, is for, you know, anecdotally from talking to people. So, you know, there's a lot of talented people who made Stadia what it is. You know, there's a lot of trolling about Stadia and, Schadenfreude, like I said earlier. You know, enjoying the demise of a Google product is always fun. But seriously talking, there is a lot of amazing, talented engineers that made Stadia what it is. And hopefully they do find, you know, new homes and stuff like that. Just have to wait and see. The Black John asks, how good is Luna? I've never tried Luna because it's not available in Europe.
I've never tried
and
either
I know
of them.
Rand hasn't tried it.
Yeah, I haven't tried Luna. You know what's funny? I got Stadia for free. Like they sent me the controller and the dongle. I got that for free, but I never even took it out of the box because there wasn't anything I ever wanted to play on Stadia. There was like no point. So might as well just throw that out in the trash now with Stadia. Lydia in the super chat says, I read somewhere that devs such as Naughty Dog and Sony Santa Monica spend years making games. Could the Obsidian model work for these studios and have smaller teams push out games at a faster rate? I mean, I think that's basically going to be the model for Obsidian, yes. I think it really depends on the studio. You know, something like Compulsion seems like it's going to be one game. Playground, they have two studios, so one game at each studio. So I think it really depends on the goals of the studio and what they want to do. Yeah, but like large AAA games, they take a long time. It's just kind of a fact now. So you have Obsidian, who, you know, Avowed's been in development for a while. You know, Outer Worlds 2 will be in development for a while before it comes out, but like you can do the smaller Grounded or the Pentiment and other games, right? So it's something that you might see more of in the future, yeah. Let's see what else. Take some questions here. So if you guys are enjoying the show, make sure you hit the like button before you leave. Subscribe if you're new. We got hopefully more videos coming. I at least got a video out every single week this month. I think I put out 9 videos this month, which is the most I've put out. Yeah, you
do good, man.
Which is like the most I've probably put out all year, essentially. Almost maybe even going back to last year when I sort of started burning out and stuff. So it is, you know, I mean, I know the video yesterday just kind of had a bunch of bullshit in it, but like people have been wanting me to put a video out at least one a week, and I was like, well, this is all the stuff that's available, so I guess we'll just make one video and talk about it. So hopefully there's more to talk about in the coming weeks. Achievement in the super chat says, could Netflix buy Warner Brothers? It would help their content and probably make them more valuable, especially to Microsoft. Imagine getting Netflix and Warner Brothers at once. I mean,
that's a dream.
Yeah, that's a dream. The talk is that NBC Universal Comcast is going to try to get Warner Brothers in like 2 years. So
Warner Brothers trading hands again?
Yeah.
Wow.
But they need to wait a certain amount of time before they're able to do that, and it's like 2 years. And then like NBC Universal Comcast would essentially acquire Warner Brothers Discovery. So yeah. We'll see how all that stuff plays out. I mean, I still want Warner Brothers games. I still want Xbox to make that purchase. You know, I know Jez wants Capcom. I want Warner Brothers. Hell, get them both. Whatever.
Get them both.
Cognito and One Bad Mother wants Sega. but do we really care about Sega in 2022? I don't know. We got a question from Airfat.
I didn't Rand.
What?
Before you read that off, can you put a poll in the chat for the
Okay.
big publishers? What do people want? Warner Brothers, Sega, Capcom, and maybe
What?
add
Who
another one.
do you want? What?
Square Enix?
What publisher do you want Xbox to buy next? Question mark. And what? We'll have WB Games as one. We have Capcom as another. What did you say was another option? Or another publisher? Sega as one.
Sega.
Okay, and then a fourth. Give me a fourth one.
Square Enix.
Square Enix.
Can you imagine if Microsoft bought Square Enix out from under Sony? That'd be the ultimate bitch move.
Well, I don't think it
man.
makes any sense because you wouldn't be getting any content from them for years because all their games are exclusive to PlayStation for years. You wouldn't get anything.
But
you wouldn't get anything. Anyways,
it'd be nice and petty though.
We'll come back to the poll. Airfat says, Rand Jez, awesome podcast, guys. Thank you. Just finished Cyberpunk Edgerunner. Now I'm heartbroken. I hope CDPR gives us Lucy DLC. Yeah, my buddy Magic just finished Edgerunners. He loved it. I'm going to watch it. And now, after bouncing off of Cyberpunk after playing it an hour at launch, he re-downloaded it and started it up. Like a lot of people, because they just passed 20 million sold. So I gotta watch Edgerunner, and maybe it does the same for me, where I watch Edgerunner and I'm like, oh man, I gotta play through Cyberpunk now.
I've got to finish Edgerunners. I'm gonna binge watch Edgerunners this weekend, I think.
You don't binge watch anything because you don't have an attention span.
I'm gonna try.
Gary Sanchez says, do you think Microsoft should acquire Focus Home Entertainment and have them manage studios such as Asobo, IO Interactive, and Avalanche? I mean, I don't know. That's kind of just to acquire them, just to have them manage it. I mean, who's to say Bethesda couldn't make an acquisition? They have in the past. Maybe Bethesda acquires IO Interactive and they're run by Bethesda. You know, there is that. Let's see. What other sort of questions do we have here in chat? Let me scroll up a little bit. Let's see. Brad Meyer says, what are your expectations for Scorn? I don't know. I've talked to people. Some of them are like, it's not what you expect. It's like a puzzle game. I honestly don't know. I mean, my expectations are low. I had heard it wasn't very good from the people that had played it on Steam like a long time ago. The art does remind me a lot of Alien, and I love me some Aliens. I guess we'll just have to wait and see, man. I don't know. I'm not like rushing out to play that game day one like I am Plague's Tale or Gotham Knights or Modern Warfare 2 or, Oxenfree 2 whenever that comes out. So, I don't know. Something about that game, I don't know, man. What else we got here?
These poll results are interesting, Rand.
Look, we'll get to it. Let more people vote. Mr. J says, could Modern Warfare 2 be on Game Pass when the deal approves? I mean, my line of thinking has always been that the same sort of deal that applied to like Resident Evil Village and Deathloop would apply to the Activision Call of Duty games. Whereas Sony would have a clause in there saying that, hey, you can't be on a competitor's subscription service for X amount of time. And when you do go to a competitor's subscription service, you also have to be on ours. So my initial response to that would be no, that Modern Warfare 2 would not be able to. That some time would have to pass before they'd be able to put it on Game Pass. But I don't know the deal. Maybe there is no clause in that contract for that. And if there isn't, then it probably would go right away. Really depends on the contract, right, Jez?
Yep.
Let's see here. What else we got? Questions.
This poll's very interesting.
I'm not even looking at it yet. I'm scrolling through all the chat to find the questions. John says, is what the coalition working part of what was shown on the Unreal Engine 5 demo? I mean, they said it's not. They said it's just something they made for the demo. I mean, I tend to believe them. Hopefully their new project gets announced soon. I saw somebody trying to pass off like a Gears of War 6 title screen is like real. Did you see that on Twitter?
What was that?
Like somebody trying to pass off like a Gears of War, like they were like, "Is this real?" Like it was a Gears of War 6 title screen, and like, "Is this real?" And it's like, come on, you know. Purple Tree Frog says, "Jez, if you had to only ever eat one sandwich for the rest of your life, what would it be?" Probably bean sandwich for Jez. Some sort of bean sandwich.
You know, I'm a huge fan of tuna. Tuna mayonnaise. Wait, what? You don't like tuna?
No.
You don't like tuna?
Tuna and mayonnaise to me is just basically I'd be all over like the kitchen sink puking my guts into it.
Wow.
You eat some weird food, bro. You eat some weird food.
Tuna's not weird.
I mean,
it's one of the most popular meat proteins on earth. What are you talking about,
bro?
Weird.
Disgusting. So you got tuna.
Tuna's.
I don't know. Me, it probably
do you have Do you have tuna on pizza in Chicago?
I mean, you could probably. I don't think I've ever seen that as an option, but I would never get it. Maybe anchovies. No, anchovies isn't tuna.
It's tuna pizza is really popular in Europe.
For me, for sandwich, I don't. It would either be peanut butter sandwich or a turkey sandwich. Or cheese sandwich,
That's
honestly.
so boring.
Bro, I'm a boring person. Don't you realize? I don't like...
Tuna and mayonnaise.
Fuck. No,
sandwich.
Mayonnaise is disgusting, first off. And tuna's not that much better. So, like, peanut butter sandwich, a cheese sandwich, or turkey sandwich. Or turkey and cheese sandwich, if I can combine things.
Tuna and cheese and mayonnaise sandwich. There's just nothing better. Grated cheese, melted a little bit.
Arafat says, "Hey, Rand and Jez, what happened to Project Mara?" Nothing, as far as I was aware. I think the plan was always Hellblade 2's coming out first.
Yeah,
and they wouldn't really talk about Project Mara until Hellblade 2's out. So I don't really think it's weird. I don't think it's really weird that we haven't heard much about Project Mara, personally.
Yeah, I think their focus is Hellblade 2. You know, they'll come tomorrow when it's time, when it's ready. You know, I personally hope that Mara is, you know, when they revealed Project Mara, there was kind of like this implication that it was going to be a smaller kind of game or a narrative adventure thing. I really want it to be an actual full game, so I would rather they took their time with it and made an actual survival horror game. Because there's one thing that Microsoft doesn't have at the moment is a horror studio. You know, Tango Gameworks literally said they don't want to make horror games anymore. So, like, where does that leave Microsoft on the horror front, right? And horror has come back in a big way. You know, we got Callisto Protocol and Dead Space launching this year, and then, you know, Resident Evil had a renaissance practically. So where's Xbox's horror studio? You know, I hope Project Mara can be that sort of horror pillar for the Xbox brand, but I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. Let's see what else we got here. Skull King says, "I just tried downloading my Halo 360 version, but it says unavailable. What's going on there? My Halo Reach 360 version. No idea. Maybe Jez can look into that. Something up with Halo Reach?
No idea.
Let's see, what other questions do we have here? Black John said, how good is Luna? But we answered that. Neither of us has tried it out. Ulfric says, what are you hoping to see in the Elder Scrolls 6? I'm hoping to see it before we all die from World War III. Jez, you need to take naps before I do the show, bro. Jeez.
What are you talking about?
You're like all tired and yawning and stuff. I mean, I know we're 3 hours plus, but
Dude, it's midnight.
Yeah.
Give me a break.
But people demand more of Rand and Jez.
Yeah,
You know?
I mean, I to make sure that I actually I was in two minds earlier. It was about 3 p.m. and I was thinking like, shall I have a nap right now? And I was thinking like, if I have a nap at 3 p.m., I'm just going to screw up my sleep cycle. So I thought I'd just power through and have a sort of tired-ish podcast. You know, sometimes it happens. This is the problem, Rand, when we're in such different time zones.
It is a problem. That's why we do it early in the day. I mean, we do it at 2 p.m. my time. Nobody else is doing podcasts at 2 p.m. It's early in the day, bro.
It's early in the day.
2 p.m.
9 p.m. here. It's 9 p.m. It's half past midnight. Give me a break.
We're almost done.
I've drank half this bottle of rum.
Okay. So. Woven wants to know. Well, we didn't really answer that. I don't know. I don't know what I want in Elder Scrolls 6 yet. A great game is what I want, but specifics, not really sure. Woven says, any updates on the Xbox Studios drama, like Xbox being called out for bad management while also being called one of the best employers, etc. Yeah, people are going crazy. Like, they're on social media basically like saying in one breath, Xbox sucks and has no games, and then the other breath, like, please stop the deal, FBI, CMA. They can't get away with it. Like, okay, so do they suck and have no games? Or are they the biggest monopoly in gaming that needs to be shut down? Like, you're kind of Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde here. You know, are they, completely mismanaged with horrible studios, or are they one of the best employers to work for? It's whatever fits people's narratives at the time, I suppose, right?
There's some hilarious Twitter accounts out there that are like, what, in one breath they're like, Xbox has no games, and then in the next breath they're like, Xbox is a monopoly. It's like you can feel the grift and the falseness and the hypocrisy with some of these accounts, and that they just live for trolling, and they feel like Xbox has done them some personal injustice, and they've got like no life outside of their Twitter accounts and their little Twitter spaces where they therapize over plastic, which is just so sad. Go and touch some bloody grass, But it is what it is, and that's Twitter. It's Twitter for you, It's social media where people have to latch on to negativity because they're kind of addicted to it, And they get the recognition from other people who are addicted to hating on it for whatever reason, and it becomes this weird cycle. It's so sad, but who cares? Ultimately, who cares? Because Xbox fans are going to be eating good. The ABK deal goes through. We're gonna have Diablo day one on Game Pass next year. We're gonna have Call of Duty, the next Call of Duty day one in Game Pass. We're gonna have Activision's massive backlog of classic games in Game Pass. We might even start seeing some classic Activision games hitting backwards compatibility. What if we get Prototype back? Phil Spencer name-checked Guitar Hero.
Yeah.
Name-checked Skylanders and Spyro and StarCraft. We're going to be eating good. You know. And these are games that wouldn't exist if Microsoft wasn't buying them. So if you're a PlayStation gamer who happens to be a fan of StarCraft, this is the only way you get more StarCraft. It's the only way. So whatever. These trolls are just kind of sad. And the Supernova just says Sekiro. We get Sekiro on Game Pass because Activision published that, right?
Yes.
So there's loads of stuff. There's loads of potential, and it'll all get unlocked, and it'll all be on Game Pass, and it'll be lovely and happy.
Lovely.
And then like these same accounts that are crying about monopolies right now, they will continue to say Xbox has no games after saying that it's a monopoly.
You speak truth. You speak truth.
They're fake people, man.
The Rambling Gamer Guy says, do you think people overstate how much Xbox is shifting everything to Game Pass? Phil always emphasizes they have the traditional model still alongside Game Pass. Could it be profitable that way? I mean, they're always going to sell games because not every game is going to want to be on Game Pass. So I mean, Xbox is putting a lot into Game Pass because they want that to be successful. But not every third party is going to want to be there. So it still has a traditional model where people buy games and buy DLC and stuff. It's just like one cog in the wheel. It's an important cog, but it's still just a cog, right?
Yeah. One of Microsoft's strengths as a corporation is diversification. Like if you look at there's like a bunch of pie charts which compares Google's business model to Apple's business model and Microsoft's business model. And like Apple's business model is like something like 75% iPhone. And then Google's business model is like 75% search volume, ads, and stuff like that. Whereas Microsoft's pie chart is like it's like 30% Azure, and then like 10% Xbox, and then like 20% Windows, and then like it's a bunch of like 20% Office. It's like a really diversified business model, which means like if any one section of Microsoft's business fails, it doesn't impact their share price that much because they got so much other stuff to fall back on. Whereas like Apple, for example, Apple's doing really well right now, and Apple has increased their diversification in recent years. But there was a time with regards to Apple where it was like if the iPhone didn't sell that year, it would have a disproportionate negative impact on Apple's business. Whereas because they didn't have a diversified business model. And like you can look at Netflix's share price. Netflix has one revenue stream, which is their subscribers. They have one single revenue stream. So if their subscribers go down, there's literally nothing to fall back on because they have no diversification in their business model whatsoever. Whereas Microsoft has like a million different pies. They got LinkedIn. You can subscribe to LinkedIn for God's sake. They've got GitHub. They've got like Visual Studio Premium and all these other kind of things like Office 365 for Business. There's like a million different subscriptions that exist under Microsoft. So I think like taking that mentality of diversification, Phil Spencer is very on board with that. And he's said repeatedly in interviews that xCloud is one piece of a wider pie. They still want to have retail. They still want to have games at retail. They still want to have consoles at retail. The whole reason xCloud is based on Xbox Series X and S silicon is because they still want to make local hardware that people can buy and take home and plug in, and they don't have to use the cloud. It's just one part of a wider pie of diversification, and and whether it's like cloud services or gaming products for development that Microsoft's selling, the Xbox business is diversified, which is a big strength of the Xbox brand, and it's a feather in the cap of Phil Spencer's business acumen. So yeah, I don't think cloud is ever going to be central to Xbox. That being said, I do sometimes have concerns that Xbox Game Pass takes too much emphasis. I tweeted this morning that the Xbox Game DVR is still broken. And I know that some of the lack of investment in fixing the Xbox dashboard is because a lot of those developer hours right now are going towards Xbox Game Pass and Xbox Cloud Gaming, Xbox Game Pass Ultimate and stuff, and I get it. Xbox Game Pass grows the brand and introduces Xbox to new people. But man, fix the game DVR for fuck's sake.
I mean, I recorded all this.
Fix the achievement system. God damn.
I recorded all grounded footage with the DVR. So
I tried to trim a clip this morning, and he just kept giving me an error message, man.
Well, that's your mistake, bro. Trimming. That's your mistake. Look, so
I
just want to say I've been.
You can trim using Manscaped with our code XB2.
Dude, I finally was scrolling down to get to other questions. I finally hit the part where like I talked about the sandwiches. Dude, they're all making fun of me in chat. What is this? Literally everybody's being like, tuna's amazing. Rand needs to get taste. Stop making that noise. Like they're all making fun of me in chat for my taste in sandwiches. What is going on?
You have horrible taste.
So,
dude, you have horrible taste.
dude,
you hate mayonnaise. You hate tuna. Tuna's the most popular fucking fish to eat on the planet.
Dude, Sebastian said, "Is Rand married? If not, it sounds like he needs a wife." I'm single as single can get. Like, Rand doesn't like flavor. They're roasting me here. Like, what is going on? I'm being roasted by Chad about.
Have you just never had tuna?
No, I've had tuna. It's disgusting.
What the? Just something wrong with you, man.
No, bro. Maybe there's something wrong with all of you. Okay, I'm the only sane one.
I need to read out these poll results.
Oh well, hold on. We'll get there at the end. We'll get there at the end. Soul Reaper with the $20 super chat says, "Are either of you looking forward to the next Dark Pictures game? Me and my wife have played all the Supermassive games, and we are both on agreement that we enjoy all of them. But Until Dawn is their best work so far." I agree with you. Until Dawn is their best. I played the Quarry. I thought it was really good, but not to the level of Until Dawn. I played Man of Medan and Little Hope. I have enjoyed them. I wouldn't necessarily call them great. They're good. I still have to play House of Ashes, but yes, I am interested in the Dark Pictures games. So I will definitely play House of Ashes and The Devil and I like those type of games. But yeah, I agree that none of them have lived up to Until Dawn. And Tekka says, wouldn't Tango Gameworks be the horror team? Well, it sounds like their next game's not horror, though. So,
yeah, they've kind of said they want to pull back from their identity of being a horror studio. They said in some interview, you know, how pervasive that's going to be, nobody really knows. But it makes me sad, Rand, because I really like The Evil Within, and I think it's really underrated.
So I got Sleepy Goblin on my side saying that he went for the PB and J too. I mean, I don't like the jelly, but PB, peanut butter, yeah, that's some good shit, you know? And
I can't eat peanuts.
Dano says, I'm with Rand on the sandwiches though. Screw tuna. Yeah, see? There's dozens of us that don't like tuna. You know?
I don't accept it.
So let's take a look at this poll.
I just don't accept it, man.
Poll results from 21 minutes ago. 417 votes. Man, I know we're like 3.5 hours in. There's still like, I think 900 people watching, which is incredible. Thank you guys. Interesting poll results. So Square Enix came in at dead last with 13%. I'd agree with that because what are you getting from it really outside of maybe tears and people crying on Twitter, which to be honest, I would enjoy, but all their games are exclusive, so you'd have to wait. And then how long is it going to take them to make their next game? So yeah, don't Square Enix know. 23% says Capcom, which is surprising because, bro, Capcom brings a lot to the table. I mean, you got Street Fighter, you got Resident Evil, you got Monster Hunter, you got Devil May Cry. I mean, you got like 4 premier franchises, not to mention older IP like that you could bring back, like Amnesia, Dead Rising, freaking Dino Crisis, Mega Man. Like, what? I thought Capcom would be higher.
Yeah,
31,
I'm triggered.
31% says Sega. I mean, at least Sega's not number one. So thank you to the 2% that voted WB Games ahead. So Sega's at 31%. And the winner, forever number one in my heart, WB Games. You know, with Rocksteady and Monolith, and NetherRealm, and all the other studios they have there. I mean, what do you got at Sega? Some PC developers. You know, Persona. I bet you if Xbox bought Sega, all the Atlas developers would just quit the next day. And just go form another studio. and make a game called Lursona or something. You know? And put it exclusively on PlayStation. Right?
Nah.
Why
do you say that?
I'm just saying that. I just feel that way, bro. I just feel that way. I don't think Atlas wants to put their games on Xbox. I think Atlas doesn't even want to put their games on Switch. I think Sega's kind of
Atlas was shouting out at Samuel Phil and Sarah Bond. They were shouting them out on Twitter, man.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, I think Atlas loves Xbox. Or at least they love Xbox's money.
Yeah.
Oh,
Nelson says, how much do you think the new Razer Cloud device will cost, Jez? How much do you think that thing will cost?
$400 at least.
$400.
At least.
At
It's
least
got a.
400.
It's got a. Yeah, it's got a 5G signal. It's got a 5G signal, and it's got a webcam built into it. You know, and the Logitech G Cloud, recommended retail price is $350, and they're selling it for at a $50 discount if you pre-order it. The Razer handheld has got a webcam in it. It's got a 5G radio in it. Unless they're getting some kind of massive subsidy from Qualcomm or something, that shit's going to be at least $400. I wouldn't be surprised if it was $450 or more. But there are mitigating ways they could bring the price down, I guess. But I also kind of doubt it.
Anyways,
Wait and see.
I think that's a good spot to end the show at. We've been going on for a while. Jez is getting tired. Thank you guys for being here.
I'm super tired.
Yeah, and we'll be back next week. What is Friday next week? We got October 7th. Man, it's a while. We got October 7th. We'll be back with a whole bunch of new stuff to talk about. Hopefully, maybe new Manscaped funny ad reads. We got Halloween Manscaped. If you're looking for comfort, check out Manscaped with the code XB2. Patreon. If you want your name on the ticker bar or you want your questions read out 100% for sure, or shoutouts, or be a producer, or get access to the exclusive podcast we're doing at least once a month we think we might be expanding it to 2. Make sure you check out the Patreon. Links in the description. Sure, Jez will put it in chat. Love to see you there. Get access to the VIP Discord as well on the our Discord server. But thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. We love all of you. And
you're amazing.
Jez is going to be on Miles' show tomorrow, but it's not going to compare to the show we just did. So I guess check out Miles' show tomorrow, Chatterdays, and we'll be back next week.
Hot.
Yeah. And keep it gaming, guys, and have a great weekend. Later.
Take care, everybody. Woo!